At Wuzhou's top high school, seniors were hard at work on a mock exam, preparing for the upcoming finals. In a quiet classroom, the sound of Chun Mo's snoring echoed. Suddenly, he shot up and shouted, "Little junior sister." Chun Mo looked around at the unfamiliar scene, completely bewildered. He was just on a date with his sweet and beautiful junior sister in the Jimu universe, wasn't he? A pin jabbed Chun Mo in the butt. Zhao Gang, sitting behind him, yelled out, "Sit down. We're in the middle of a test. Did you sleep your brain away?" Dazed, Chun Mo felt all eyes in the room fixated on him. A second later, the entire class burst into hysterical laughter. What little junior sister? Some lowly haha. Chun Mo must have fried his brain sleeping. And Kiyue, the campus belle, shot Chun Mo a look of disgust. Even though her parents were always trying to set them up, in her eyes, he was nothing but a useless, spoiled rich kid, not even worthy of being compared to Zhang Yuanxia's pinky toe. Meanwhile, Zhang Yuanxia smirked, pleased to see Chun Mo making a fool of himself. He felt Chun Mo was unworthy of Kiyue, and certainly not worthy of being his rival. The exam proctor restored order to the classroom after the commotion Chun Mo had caused. The homeroom teacher criticized him directly. Chun Mo, it's bad enough you don't care about improving your grades, but sleeping during an exam? At least don't disturb the other students. Otherwise, I'll have to ask you to leave the room. In short, Chun Mo had been reborn into this body in another world. The surging spirit and powerful soul that once resided within him were now completely gone. In his past life, Chun Mo was born into immense wealth. Because of this, he was targeted and framed by countless enemies. Later, his life was saved by the Tonghua immortal emperor, and he began his journey on the path of cultivation. Along the way, Chun Mo befriended his junior sister, and they roamed the world without a care. Perhaps his junior sister was also wandering somewhere on this earth. Chun Mo knew he had to quickly increase his strength, regain his cultivation, and find her. Seeing Chun Mo just standing there like a statue, the teacher's face turned red with anger. Well, what are you standing there for? If you don't want to take the test, then get out. Chun Mo smirked. It just so happened that he didn't have a single bit of this world's knowledge in his head anyway. Chun Mo confidently strode out of the classroom, leaving his classmates stunned. Is he crazy? Is he really just quitting the exam? Chun Mo wasn't crazy at all. He was just obsessed with cultivation now. There are 8 realms: Qi condensation, golden core, nascent soul, spirit transformation, Tao fusion, Mahayana, tribulation crossing, and immortal venerable. In his past life, Chun Mo had reached the level of a great cultivator in the spirit transformation realm. Right now, Chun Mo's goal was to quickly enter the Qi condensation realm. He had to draw on the lessons from his past life to shorten the process, ensuring a solid foundation every step of the way. The first step in cultivation is choosing a good technique to build a strong foundation. Chun Mo chose the Xian Tian Sheng Long Dao. It was the most suitable technique for beginners and for someone like him, starting over from scratch. The first step of cultivation is to absorb qi into the body. Chun Mo closed his eyes and meditated for half an hour. Just like that, he successfully absorbed qi into his body. Choosing the Xian Tian Sheng Long Dao was indeed the right decision. Suddenly, a group of people approached Chun Mo, led by Kiyue and Zhang Yuanxia. She looked at Chun Mo with an indescribable expression, unable to understand what he was doing behind the school. Or perhaps our classmate Chun Mo displayed his superior intellect and finished the exam early. Zhang Yuanxia's sarcastic remark made the whole group burst out laughing at Chun Mo. Trailing behind Kiyue was a girl who looked gentle and well-behaved. Chun Mo immediately recognized her as Jiang Jiao. She came from an ordinary merchant family. In his past life, she had always stayed by his side, but he had failed to cherish her. And Kiyue repeated her question. I asked what you're doing. But Chun Mo completely ignored her, walking straight over to Jiang Jiao to strike up a conversation. Jiang Jiao, how did you do on the test this time? Jiang Jiao was so surprised she blushed. She never imagined a day would come when Chun Mo would ignore Kiyue to talk to her. Pretty well, Jiang Jiao replied shyly. Chun Mo gently patted her head, promising that if she placed in the top 10 of the class, he would give her a gift. Jiang Jiao's eyes lit up as if they held the entire galaxy. For a moment, she was speechless. A second later, her face turned as red as a tomato. I'll do my best. Chun Mo smiled, waved goodbye to Jiang Jiao, and said he'd see her in 3 days. Meanwhile, Kiyue was left standing alone, watching Chun Mo's figure disappear into the distance. Her eyebrows furrowed. She thought he was just playing hard to get, trying to show off for her. According to Chun Mo's memories, Jiang Jiao would soon face a great disaster. Now that he was reborn, he couldn't let that happen again. Chun Mo was on his way home when he suddenly remembered that he was currently staying at Kiyue's house, forced by his parents. Who would have thought that right after ignoring Kiyue, he'd have to go back to her place to sleep? Chun Mo would rather die than go. He wanted to rent a room, but his pockets were completely empty. Not a single coin to his name. Chun Mo wandered the streets. Suddenly, a brilliant idea struck him. That evening, he set up a stall on a pedestrian street to sell talismans. He looked no different from a beggar. A few elderly people walked by, sighing. Society has really gone downhill. Even students are pretending to be swindlers now. Who does he think he's fooling? Chun Mo swallowed his pride, telling himself that in this vast sea of people, there had to be one or two who knew what's what. Finally, that person appeared. What can these talismans of yours do? It was a girl who was both beautiful and possessed an incredibly cold aura. She was Jean Peiyun. Chun Mo wasn't captivated by her beauty. He launched into a passionate speech about his talismans. This one helps clear the mind, ward off evil spirits, ensures smooth sailing in life, and promotes a healthy body. The two words clear the mind made Jean Peiyun's eyes light up, and she asked, if someone is mentally unstable, speaks incoherently, and can't even recognize their own family, can your talisman cure them? Chun Mo was taken aback by her question. Just from hearing the symptoms, he knew it was due to an imbalance of yin and yang in the earth soul. Modern medicine would call it a mental disorder. For that, the spirit-calming talisman was most suitable. Jean Peiyun held the talisman in her hand and asked for the price. Chun Mo warned her first that if she didn't believe in it, the talisman wouldn't work. Jean Peiyun nodded and said, I believe. I'll buy it. Chun Mo immediately held up 3 fingers. The spirit-calming talisman is 30,000. The mind-clearing is 20,000, and the rest are 10,000 each. 30,000? Why don't you just go rob a bank? A girl suddenly appeared out of nowhere, stopping Jean Peiyun. It was Li Xingnan, a board member from Jean Peiyun's company. Peiyun, how can you believe this stuff? These are just empty lies. It's a total scam. Jean Peiyun sighed. Her grandmother's condition was getting worse and worse. The hospital couldn't do anything. This was a last-ditch effort. Xingnan, I've made up my mind. Even if I get scammed, I have a try for my grandma's sake. Jean Peiyun then asked for Chun Mo's account number to transfer the money. Seeing Jean Peiyun's filial piety, Chun Mo gave her all the remaining talismans for free. When you get back, just stick the talisman on your grandmother's forehead and shout activate loudly. Jean Peiyun happily went on her way. Before leaving, Xingnan shot one last threat at Chun Mo. If these useless pieces of paper don't work, I'll hunt you down to the ends of the earth and make you pay. With the money from selling one talisman, Chun Mo was able to rent a house. From then on, he locked himself in his room and focused on cultivating. As for Jean Peiyun, she anxiously asked her grandfather about her grandmother's condition. He said she'd had an episode an hour ago, and Dr. Lin had already given her a sedative. The episodes have been more frequent lately. I'm afraid she doesn't have much time left. Jean Peiyun immediately took out the talismans she bought from Chun Mo and gave them to her grandfather, explaining she had met a benefactor on the street who sold them to her, and she hoped he'd let her try them on her grandmother. Her grandfather frowned and sighed. He couldn't understand why Jean Peiyun would believe in such things. It would only cause her grandmother more suffering. Jean Peiyun knelt and begged him. Even if there was just a slim chance, she wanted to try for her grandmother's sake. Her grandfather had no choice but to nod. After all, it was just one talisman. There was nothing to lose by trying. Jean Peiyun placed the talisman on her grandmother's forehead, then shouted. The grandmother remained motionless on the bed. Her grandfather just grunted, not blaming Jean Peiyun. Her grandmother's illness couldn't even be cured by the best experts in Yinjing. So what effect could a single talisman possibly have? Suddenly, the talisman on her grandmother's forehead burst into flames. A stream of energy flowed into her head. Her grandmother's weak voice spoke up, stunning both Jean Peiyun and her grandfather. The grandmother shakily sat up. Jean Peiyun immediately leaned close to her and asked, Grandma, do you recognize me? The grandmother smiled gently. You're my granddaughter. How could I not recognize you? Her grandfather, in a panic, called for Dr. Lin Ku. A short while later, after several examinations, the doctor exclaimed, A miracle! This is truly a miracle. The old madam has recovered. Jean Peiyun was overjoyed. Her grandfather felt as if a huge weight had been lifted from his heart. After Dr. Lin left, her grandfather told Jean Peiyun to recount the story of how she bought the talisman in meticulous detail, not leaving anything out. After hearing the story, her grandfather immediately mobilized his forces to carefully investigate Chun Mo's background. He wanted to pay him a personal visit. Meanwhile, Chun Mo had just exhausted a great deal of his life force. This was also because the spiritual energy on Earth was too barren. He would still need 3 days to reach the chi condensation stage. Chun Mo unconsciously picked up his phone. He knew his mother would definitely call soon. No sooner had he thought it, a call came from Li Sufong, Chun Mo's mother. Little Mo, get to Hanyang Airport immediately. You're coming with me to Yinjing to attend your grandmother's funeral. Chun Mo's heart bloomed. It had been 600 years since he'd last heard his mother's voice. Chun Mo suppressed his emotions and told his mother to wait for him at the airport. His mother was born into the Li family, one of the 6 great families of Yinjing. Because she married Chun Mo's father, a commoner, she was expelled from the family. Chunmo's parents were self-reliant, working diligently in their respective fields. In the eyes of the Li family, Chunmo was just an outsider, someone anyone could look down on and trample. Moreover, Chunmo was seen as a tool for a marriage alliance with the Yin family. Although the Yin family insisted on breaking the engagement, Yin Qingcheng had been secretly protecting him all this time. Now that Chunmo was reborn, he would slowly settle all the old debts from the past. At the airport, Chunmo's mother was already waiting. When he saw his mother, he told himself not to cry, then called out to her. "It's in a few months, Mom. You got even more beautiful." Chunmo's mother waved her hand dismissively. "Since when did you become such a sweet talker?" Chunmo joked around a bit more, and his mother relaxed. She told him to pay his respects properly to his grandmother when they got to Yinjing. The mother and son finally arrived on the outskirts of Yinjing. The entire area was Li family territory. They were there for a funeral, but the lineup of supercars outside made it look more like a party. The Li family's butler, Uncle Fu, saw the pair and came out to ask, "Fourth miss, why have you come? How could I not come to see my mother off one last time?" Chunmo's mother was firm, but he could tell from Uncle Fu's expression that the Li family did not welcome them. Butler Fu whispered into his mother's ear, "This old servant dare not say much, but I fear your visit this time will be met with many obstacles." Chunmo's mother frowned. It was only natural for a daughter to see her mother. She'd like to see who would dare stop them. As soon as they stepped inside, a barrage of scornful gazes fell upon them. In his previous life, Chunmo had been terrified by these stares, only daring to be meek and obedient. But the Chunmo of now was different. After living a whole other life, the Li family was nothing more than ants to him. Li Dongyang, the current head of the Li family, sat imposingly before the coffin, his face stern and expressionless as he surveyed his surroundings. The eldest son, Li Liwen, raised an eyebrow. "Fourth sister, why are you here?" Chunmo's mother shot back a sharp retort. "If you're going to call me fourth sister, then don't ask such a question." Li Wen was speechless. The second son, Li Wu, stared at them so hard his eyes looked like they were about to pop out. The eldest uncle couldn't argue and had to let Chunmo's mother in. But when it was Chunmo's turn, he ordered him to stop. Chunmo's mother was visibly outraged. "He is my son, mother's eldest grandson. How is he an outsider? Or her second brother's 3 sons and 1 daughter also outsiders?" Sniped it by Chunmo's mother. The second uncle, Li Wu, growled, "Anyone not in the family registry is an outsider. As long as I'm here, he won't even dream of taking a single step into this hall." Chunmo's mother's face darkened. Her younger sister, Li Lian, stepped in to mediate. After all, today was their grandmother's day of rest. If they caused a scene, they would be branded as unfilial. The eldest uncle nodded, glancing at Li Dongyang, who was observing everything. If they displeased the old master, they would all be thrown out. Out of options, Chunmo's mother had to let Chunmo stay outside. She instructed him to pay his final respects to his grandmother from the doorway of the hall. Chunmo nodded, kowtowing before the memorial hall to bid his grandmother farewell. After they were done, a cousin ran up and invited them to stay, saying there were special arrangements made for Chunmo. Chunmo's mother wanted him to go with her, saying there was no need to trouble them. But it seemed the young man wasn't going to let Chunmo leave so easily. "Annie, my father instructed that the younger generation has its own quarters. We must not break protocol." Chunmo told his mother not to worry, that nothing would happen. He knew they were going to take him to the warehouse and beat him to a pulp. Just as expected, he led Chunmo to a warehouse. Chunmo frowned. "Is your Li family so poor that you make guests stay in a warehouse? Letting you stay in a warehouse is already giving you face." He handed Chunmo a key and left. Chunmo infused a bit of spiritual chi into the key, a mysterious look on his face. In the middle of the night, just as expected, they came to the warehouse. The guy who gave him the key ordered the door to be opened. Each of them charged in, holding an iron rod. They thought Chunmo would be asleep, but to their surprise, he was sitting cross-legged in the middle of the room, looking completely relaxed. "What do you guys want?" The young master sneered. Did they need a reason to torment Chunmo? They did it because they felt like it. He turned and ordered his lackeys, "Just don't kill him." Before 3 seconds had passed, the 2 guys who rushed forward were sent flying by Chunmo's kicks, coughing up blood. He dusted off his clothes with a nonchalant expression, as if he'd just swatted 2 mosquitoes. The young master was slightly surprised, but he didn't panic. The guy powered up as if he was about to go Super Saiyan. "I'll show you what real power is." The spiritual power radiating from him took Chunmo by surprise. But this power was too weak. It could barely be called spiritual chi. The important thing was there were actually cultivators on this earth. The 2 goons who got their faces smashed and scrambled to their feet to carry out their duty of hyping up their boss. "I can't believe Brother Yu is a martial powerhouse. Look at that aura. He must be at the great completion of the outer realm." Chunmo noted the terms martial powerhouse and great completion of the outer realm. It was slightly different from his own realm system. "That guy, Yu." charged forward like a brute. His imposing aura was instantly extinguished the moment he met Chun Mo. Chun Mo stopped his punch with a single hand, leaving him stunned. In less than 3 seconds, Chun Mo slammed him straight to the ground. At that moment, Liu felt like he couldn't breathe. Is this what you call real power? Seeing Chun Mo press his foot on their boss, the 2 lackeys yelled, Chun Mo, let brother you go. Let him go. All right. Chun Mo spoke softly, then pressed his foot down hard on Yu's chest. Ugh. His face turned pale. You dare to cripple my Dantian? I'll haunt you even as a ghost. Chun Mo looked at him with a smirk. Don't be in such a hurry. The fun is just getting started. At the crack of dawn, the eldest uncle and his wife were weeping in front of the main house. Li Danyang asked with a dark expression, What's going on? The couple cried out in anguish, pointing fingers. Father, Yuer's Dantian was crippled by that bastard son of 4th sister. Crippling a Dantian was no different from ruining a person's life, especially a member of the Li family. Li Danyang was furious. That animal, how dare he be so vicious? Li Wu, bring Chun Mo and his mother here at once. Just then, Chun Mo swaggered in. No need, I'm already here. The whole crowd of relatives gathered to watch the drama, each one with a look of disgust. He really has a death wish, a bastard through and through. Even the youngest aunt gasped at Chun Mo's audacity. To think he dare come here alone. The eldest aunt shrieked in outrage. Where is your cousin? How could you be so cruel and ruthless? Li Danyang ordered Chun Mo to kneel. Chun Mo just smirked and didn't react, making the old man's face darken with rage. Chun Mo lived up to his name, Mo, which can mean indifference. He was indifferent to the world. I have always acted with a clear conscience. Where was I wrong? The other relatives rained down curses on Chun Mo for being uneducated. The eldest uncle was both crying and fuming. You animal. As a member of the Li family, how could you attack your own cousin so viciously and still not admit you're wrong? Chun Mo lowered his eyes, feigning sadness. So now you consider me a member of the Li family? Funny, because I don't care. The eldest uncle, at a loss for words with Chun Mo, turned to wail at Li Danyang, begging him to deliver justice. Li Danyang said only one thing. Administer family law. The eldest uncle and his wife were secretly delighted, thinking that this time, Chun Mo would surely not survive. Just then, Chun Mo's mother appeared. Eldest brother, little Mo is not a vicious person. There must be a misunderstanding in this matter. The eldest uncle pointed at the blood-soaked Liu. Does this look like a misunderstanding to you? Chun Mo's mother turned to ask him what happened, but Chun Mo felt that even if he explained, none of them would believe him. I understand, my son, but justice lies in the heart. Tell everyone here the truth and let them judge. Chun Mo awkwardly scratched his head, seeing that his mother was still deluded about the character of the Li family members. But either way, Chun Mo still had to be a good son and listen to his mother. He turned and grabbed a nearby goon by the collar, causing him to panic. Let him speak for me. He saw everything clearly. Li Danyang gritted his teeth so hard a vein bulged on his forehead. Seeing Chun Mo approach, the goon started trembling in fear. What do you mean? Tell them everything you know. Don't misstate a single word. The guy recounted everything like a machine, from how Liu wanted to teach Chun Mo a lesson, and then slap Li Sufong, so they wouldn't dare to come to the Li family again. Liu arranged for Chun Mo to stay in the warehouse, then brought 2 helpers along, thinking that as long as they didn't kill him, there would be no problem. We never expected Chun Mo to be so good at fighting. Liu used all his strength but still ended up crippled. Chun Mo's mother's lips trembled, but she was no longer the meek and submissive person she used to be in front of her siblings. Is this the good son you raised? But the couple still felt Chun Mo's actions were too ruthless. Liu was just being a little impulsive, that's all. Besides, what did Yuer say that was wrong? If you did that kind of thing back then, you shouldn't be afraid of people talking about it. The eldest aunt's words sent Chun Mo's mother's blood pressure soaring. Chun Mo had to quickly restrain her. Chun Mo's mother just wanted to know one thing. What if the one lying on the ground right now wasn't Liu, but Chun Mo? Father, would you still administer family law? Chun Mo stood by and watched the show, seeing that his mother didn't need his help at all. She had asked a question that silenced everyone, and Li Dongyang's answer was firm and decisive. Of course not. He is not a member of my Li family. Why would the life or death of an outsider be worthy of the Li family's law? Chun Mo's mother suppressed her rage, her facial muscles twitching uncontrollably. So heartless it's laughable. So, how does the head of the Li family intend to handle today's matter? Li Dongyang didn't hesitate to say that a blood debt must be paid in blood. He ordered Chun Mo to be imprisoned and dealt with after Liu woke up. Of course, Chun Mo's mother wouldn't agree. For Chun Mo's sake, she raised her voice and argued back at Li Dongyang. What is there that I wouldn't dare? You rebellious daughter. Li Dongyang raised his hand, preparing to slap Su Fong. Chun Mo immediately shot out an arm and grabbed him tightly. The onlookers were shocked, cursing him for his audacity. As for the second uncle, Li Wu, he had been waiting for this day for a long time. A chance to openly use force against Chun Mo. Terrified, Chunmo's mother told him to let go. At that moment, Chunmo also sensed two presences behind old Li Dongyang. These two auras could pose a threat to him. As expected, the Li family didn't become one of the 6 great families here for nothing. However, the dignity of a spirit transformation realm great cultivator was not to be trifled with. In his past life, Chunmo was useless. In this life, if he had power and still allowed his mother to be humiliated, he wouldn't deserve to be called a man. Chunmo turned to warn Li Dongyang. He was the one who hit Li Yu. If he wanted to deal with someone, he should aim for him. With me here today, don't even think about touching a single hair on my mother's head. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind helping the Li family find a new master. As Chunmo spoke, he released a powerful spiritual force. Seeing that he was an inner-realm martial artist, the entire Li family froze, not daring to make a peep. Li Dongyang's face darkened as well. At such a close distance, if Chunmo attacked, he would really be meeting his maker. But Chunmo's mother didn't understand what was happening. She was confused, seeing everyone around her trembling. The youngest aunt, Lian, also gently tried to persuade Chunmo. After all, Li Dongyang was his grandfather. Chunmo used that to question her back. He has the title of grandfather, but since the day I was born, when I suffered the world's scorn and humiliation, where was he? When I was locked in a warehouse and beaten by Li Yu and his goons, where was my grandfather? Chunmo, do not accept the title of grandfather. With that, Chunmo shoved Li Dongyang's hand away while the old man was still in shock. Even if you have 1,000 reasons and 1,000,000 excuses, gravely injuring your own cousin is inhumane. Li Zhua, Li Liwen's eldest son, stepped forward to defend his foolish younger brother. Using the excuse of dishonoring the Li family, he accused Chunmo of being disloyal, disobedient, and unfilial, throwing every possible accusation at him. Then he concluded with one line. You keep rambling about how the Li family treats you unfairly. But you yourself are nothing but an inhumane, unjust, disloyal, and unfilial son. Chunmo burst out laughing. Have you forgotten? My surname is Chun, not Li. Everything you just said might sound reasonable, but it's nothing more than hot air. Li Zhua raised an eyebrow, acting as if he was only sparing the Manhwa group and the Chun family of Yuyang out of respect for Chunmo's mother. Otherwise, he would have wiped them out completely. Chunmo's face was filled with contempt, because in his eyes, the Li family was nothing more than an ant. The two sides continued their war of words. Whoever got angry first would lose. And Li Zhua was already boiling with rage. You have no idea about the inner workings of the Li family, but you are extraordinarily talented. If you kneel and admit your mistake right now, grandfather might add you to the family registry out of appreciation for your talent. If not, in less than 5 years, the entire Chun family of Yuyang will be annihilated. Chunmo looked at Li Zhua with disdain. Who was he to demand that he kowtow and admit fault? If Li Zhua said 5 years, then Chunmo only needed 3 to make the Li family willingly kneel at his feet and beg for forgiveness. All right, today's matter ends here. Li Dongyang spoke up, cutting off the two young men's verbal battle. Then, he declared that from this day forward, the Manhwa group and the Chun family of Yuyang would be the Li family's greatest competitors. The color drained from Chunmo's mother's face. This time, we're really done for, she thought. Chunmo pulled his mother away. They couldn't stay a moment longer in this heartless, despicable, and nauseating place. Chunmo's mother shut her eyes, her mind racing about the future. There was no room for negotiation now. Her first priority was to protect the Manhwa group with everything she had. The mother and son left under the countless stares of their Li family relatives. A few days later, Chunmo returned to Saidang and went to an antique market to buy some jade stones to set up a spirit-gathering array. He didn't need any special appraisal. As long as he could sense the primordial energy of heaven and earth being released from the jade, it would suffice. Unfortunately, after searching for half a day, Chunmo couldn't find a single stone that contained primordial chi, let alone one that was actively releasing it. Suddenly, a stall on the sidewalk run by an old man with white hair and a beard caught Chunmo's attention. He went over to ask the price of a pair of jade lions. The old man quoted a price of 1,000. Chunmo then asked about a dong ho painting of a young girl. It was priced at 2,000. After asking about a few items, Chunmo's gaze fell upon a shimmering stone in the corner. A glint appeared in the old man's eyes, but he quickly concealed it, feigning ignorance. I just picked that up off the street. If you want it, I can give it to you, but you have to tell me what it does. Chunmo's expression darkened. He had been so careful, yet the old man had still managed to pick up on his interest. Although the stone looked ordinary on the outside, it contained a vast amount of primordial energy. Chunmo couldn't possibly overlook it. He agreed to tell the old man the stone's purpose, but in return, the old man had to tell him where he'd found it. All right. The old man handed the stone to Chunmo and gestured for him to follow, as this was not the right place for such a conversation. Chunmo gazed at the stone in his hand, satisfied. A small piece was enough to set up a spirit-gathering array. With the rest, he could craft some simple protective jade talismans once he reached the second level of chi condensation. Chun Mo followed the old man to an antique-looking place that reeked of money. All right, now, tell me, what exactly does this stone do? Chun Mo explained briefly. This stone contains the primordial energy of heaven and earth. It's not much use to ordinary people, but for martial arts cultivators, it has miraculous effects. The old man's eyes lit up. Could it be that you're a martial arts cultivator? That's right, I am. The moment Chun Mo confirmed it, the old man shot up from his seat, overjoyed. His master had revered martial artists his entire life, but had sadly never met one. He, on the other hand, had always thought they were nothing but nonsense, a trick to fool old men. Who would have thought he'd meet a real one today? So he told Chun Mo the story of how he found the stone on the shores of the Blackwater Swamp in Lingwu. There were many more stones like this around the swamp, but he never dared to go too deep because of a legend about a monster living there. Though he had never seen it, every time he tried to venture further in, a bone-chilling sensation would stop him in his tracks. Just from that description, Chun Mo immediately guessed that the Blackwater Swamp held something he needed. So Chun Mo asked the old man if he wanted to become a martial artist. The old man asked doubtfully, "Me? Is that possible? Don't they say you need natural talent and a strong foundation to cultivate martial arts? And that you have to start before you're 16? Chun Mo scoffed. If he said it was possible, then even a dead man could come back to life and start cultivating. The old man immediately knelt down and called Chun Mo senior brother. Senior brother, please recommend me. If I can join the sect, I will be eternally grateful for this great kindness. Chun Mo smirked. Senior brother, you've misunderstood. As he said this, Chun Mo waved his hand, and a corner of the wooden table was sliced clean off, as if by an invisible blade. A powerful spiritual energy radiated from his entire body. To Chun Mo, the path of cultivation was one of defying the heavens. Seniority was not determined by age, only strength mattered. The old man realized Chun Mo was an inner realm martial artist, a power that could effortlessly slice through steel and jade. I was blind not to recognize a true master. How shameful. Master, please accept this disciple's bow. Although the old man bowed to become his disciple, Chun Mo only accepted him as a registered disciple. After all, with one foot already in the grave, he wasn't yet qualified to officially join his sect. Before leaving, Chun Mo told him he would return in a few days to pass on a cultivation technique. Being his disciple didn't have many rules. The old man could continue his business here, as usual. On the way back, Chun Mo realized he'd forgotten to ask for the name of his first registered disciple. Oh well, he'd ask next time. Back home, Chun Mo broke the stone into several pieces and then began to set up the array. The fragments floated in midair, circled once, and then embedded themselves into the floor. They began to release primordial energy, which gathered in one spot on the ceiling. This is why it's called a spirit gathering array. From now on, Chun Mo's cultivation speed within the spirit gathering array would increase dramatically. Elsewhere, a beautiful woman in an evening gown stood all alone. A servant came to report that the family meeting had just concluded with the decision to break off the engagement with the Chun family, specifically with Chun Mo. The purple-haired girl turned, her hair flowing gracefully behind her. My future, the future of Yin Qingcheng, is in my own hands. No one else gets to decide it. Qingcheng ordered Tang Tang, who stood behind her, to prepare for a trip to Jiatong. Tang Tang immediately warned Qingcheng to be careful. The moment she left the Yin family estate, countless dangers would await her. Qingcheng frowned. It was always the same, tired excuse. Don't you know martial arts, Tang Tang? Besides, we have an inner realm martial artist as a guard. What's there to worry about? But will he help us? After all, by then, your engagement with him will be broken. Tang Tang said, her voice laced with worry. But Qingcheng was perfectly calm. We just need to go find him. Whether he helps or not is up to him. That night, all the spiritual energy in the city was being drawn in one direction, towards Chun Mo's house. Thanks to the spirit gathering array pulling in spiritual energy from all directions, Chun Mo reached the chi condensation realm 2 days ahead of schedule. At this rate, in another 10 days, Chun Mo would definitely be able to break through to the second level of chi condensation and materialize a sword from his spiritual energy. From now on, Chun Mo had to consolidate his strength every day, ensuring his foundation was solid with every step. However, even with that as his priority, Chun Mo still had to deal with school. The exam results will be posted tomorrow, but Chun Mo couldn't care less. What was on his mind was the Yin family coming to break off the engagement. In his past life, Chun Mo was always the clown. But in this life, he would be the ringmaster. Just then his phone rang. It was Jiang Jiao. Chun Mo was curious what could be so important that she'd call him this early in the morning. On the other end of the line, Jiang Jiao answered shyly. My family's restaurant is having its grand opening today. My parents told me to invite a few classmates to be our first customers. The food is on the house. Since Jiang Jiao's family only ran a modest restaurant, She didn't dare invite Yuan Hao and Kiyue. She only had the courage to call Chun Mo. Chun Mo accepted immediately, saying he'd be there at 11:30. Right on time, Jiang Jiao ran out happily to greet Chun Mo. "You're finally here. We were just waiting for you." Jiang Jiao's mother also came out to welcome their guest. "Jiao Jiao, so this is Chun Mo? I heard you chirping his name in my ear all morning like a little bird." Chun Mo politely wished her a prosperous business, and Jiang Jiao's mother smiled. "You're quite the smooth talker. No wonder my Jiao mentions you all the time." Jiang Jiao blushed and pushed her mother inside to get things ready, before Chun Mo even had a chance to give his gift. He had prepared a red envelope, but he knew Jiang Jiao would never accept it if he gave it to her directly. So, Chun Mo quietly left it on the table and followed Jiang Jiao inside. Seeing Jiang Jiao's arm linked with Chun Mo's, the other boys in the group seethed with jealousy, immediately marking him as their #1 rival. Zhao Gang pulled Chun Mo over to sit next to him. As Jiang Jiao was about to turn back to check on the food, Wang Lei called out to her, "Don't be so busy. Come sit down. Everyone's waiting to talk to you." Jiang Jiao nodded, and Zhao Gang intentionally offered her a seat. Then, he gave Chun Mo a sly nudge. "You owe me one for this, little Mo." But Zhao Gang's favor only made the other hopefuls even more furious. Two of the rich kids exchanged a look and hatched a plan. One of them set up his best friend. "Zhou Hao, today is the grand opening of Jiang Jiao's family restaurant. What gift did you prepare?" Zhou Hao smugly announced that he had gifted Jiang Jiao's family a money tree. Then he turned to Chun Mo. "You didn't come empty-handed, did you? Or did Chun Mo already give a red envelope with 10 billion in it?" The group howled with laughter, enjoying the spectacle of Chun Mo being made a fool of. Even Zhao Gang started getting anxious, seeing Chun Mo remain silent and letting them walk all over him. Finally, Jiang Jiao had to step in. She had wanted a fun class gathering today, but they had turned it into a money-flashing contest. "I'm grateful to those who spent money on gifts, and I'm also grateful to those who came to support us without gifts. Let's just drop this now." Even though Jiang Jiao had spoken, the others still looked at Chun Mo with disdain. At that moment, Chun Mo finished a glass of water to recharge, then started to roast Zhou Hao's group. "Are you provoking me because you think I'm an easy target?" Zhou Hao's face was arrogant as he said Chun Mo wasn't even worthy of being provoked by him. Jiang Jiao was angry that her class gathering was being turned into a circus. She didn't mind asking Zhou Hao to take his gift and leave. Afraid of offending Jiang Jiao, Zhou Hao waved his hands and said he wouldn't say another word. But inside, he secretly held a grudge against Chun Mo. Chun Mo didn't like to make a scene. He decided to quietly cast a spell to make Zhou Hao die a silent death. Just then, Jiang Jiao's mother ran in holding a red envelope, asking who it belonged to. When Jiang Jiao opened it, she was stunned by a stack of cash thicker than a layer of makeup on her face. The whole group started buzzing, wondering who had that kind of money. Jiang Jiao turned to Chun Mo. "Was this you?" Chun Mo, who was in the middle of casting his spell, had to stop to avoid being discovered. "Just a small token of my well wishes." Jiang Jiao's mother kept 1 bill and gave the rest back to Chun Mo, not daring to accept so much. Jiang Jiao handed the rest of the money back to him. "I appreciate the sentiment. Please, listen to my mother and take this back." With that settled, Jiang Jiao's mother happily brought out the food. During the meal, Zhao Gang spoke up on Chun Mo's behalf. "How pathetic. Who was it just now that said Chun Mo didn't bring a gift?" The group avoided eye contact and whistled nonchalantly. Only Zhou Hao, who had attacked him directly, was left feeling the most embarrassed. Convinced that Chun Mo had intentionally set this up, he stood up and went to the restroom to think of a new plan. After Zhou Hao left, the group started whispering. "Is Zhou Hao not over it? We're all classmates. What's the big deal over such a small thing?" As Chun Mo ate, he knew exactly where Zhou Hao had gone. He was undoubtedly calling someone to help him save face. Thanks to the delicious cooking of Jiang Jiao's mother, the atmosphere in the room became much warmer. Suddenly, a group of loud-mouthed gangsters burst in, shattering the pleasant atmosphere. "Where's the boss?" Seeing the smirk on Zhou Hao's face, it was obvious he was behind this. Jiang Jiao gently explained that the restaurant wasn't serving outside customers today and invited them to try another place. Who knew the three of them would descend on Jiang Jiao like hungry tigers? "Well, hello there, pretty lady. Come over and have a little chat with us." Jiang Jiao's mother rushed over to block them just in time, asking what she could do for them. The gangsters laughed until tears streamed down their faces. "Brothers, tell me, what can this old lady possibly do for us?" A blonde-haired man introduced the bald leader as Brother Hu, the one who runs protection on this street. "If you want to do business on this street, you follow my rules, Zhang Hu's rules." "Got it." Jiang Jiao's father hurried out to see what they wanted. Zhang Hu held up his fingers. "My rule is 70,000 a year, and I guarantee your peace." Jiang Jiao's mother yelled indignantly. This was no different from daylight robbery. Besides, the Zhang family's business was legal, protected by the law. One of the henchmen brought a chair and lit a cigarette for Zhang Hu. He crossed his legs arrogantly, showing off his authority. So, you're not going to pay up? Jiang Jiao's mother, her blood boiling, threatened to hand them over to the police, but her husband quickly stopped her. It's not that we won't pay, it's just, that's a lot of money. We don't have it on hand right now. Zhang Hu frowned and asked again, are you paying or not? This time, no one could stop Jiang Jiao's mother. She charged forward to fight. Pay my ass. Collecting protection fees? Do you think you're in a TV show or something? Zhang Hu's face darkened at the insult. He ordered his men to call for backup. The rich kids who were acting all high and mighty earlier now made excuses and scurried away. Jiang Jiao didn't blame them. After all, they were just guests today. You guys should head back first. Be safe on the way. A bunch of cowards. Jiao's family is in trouble, and you all run faster than rabbits. If you leave now, don't you ever say you know me, Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao suddenly stood up and spoke with such righteousness that Jiang Jiao and the others were surprised. He stepped forward. He said he knew these guys and would try to talk to them, so they wouldn't give Jiang Jiao's family any more trouble. Jiang Jiao was incredibly grateful to Zhou Hao. As Zhou Hao walked past Chinemo, he dropped a sarcastic comment. Zhou Hao, not like some people who give a red envelope and then make a big show of it, just so everyone knows. Say one more word, and I'll slap you dead. Chinemo spoke coldly and released a sliver of spiritual energy, enough to make the entire group's faces turn pale. Zhou Hao trembled before the killing intent radiating from Chinemo. If he wanted to run, now was the time. Just then, Zhang Hu's tattooed and dyed hair reinforcements arrived. Seeing he had more men, his I'm your daddy attitude returned. Someone doesn't want to follow the rules. Tell me, what should we do? The blonde, pierced man grinned slyly. Isn't that simple? Before they could make a move, Zhou Hao immediately went to talk to Zhang Hu. Brother Hu, this restaurant belongs to my classmate's family. I hope you can give me some face. Zhang Hu stood up and patted Zhou Hao's face a few times, asking if he was the son of the Zhou family's pork factory. Yes, I hope Brother Hu will be lenient. Zhou Hao replied, his heart pounding as the script didn't go as he'd planned. Suddenly, Zhang Hu threw a punch straight into Zhou Hao's face, sending him sprawling to the ground. Give you face. Even your old man wouldn't dare tell me to give him face. Jiang Jiao's mother charged forward, yelling at Zhang Hu, what's so great about hitting a kid? If you got guts, come at me. Zhou Hao, dazed from the punch, blurted out. What do you mean, Zhang Hu? Didn't we agree that as soon as I showed up, you'd take your men and leave? The remaining students gasped. From what he just said, everyone guessed that Zhou Hao and Zhang Hu had colluded from the start. A moment ago, Jiang Jiao was grateful to Zhou Hao. Now, all she felt was disgust at his despicable nature. Zhou Hao broke out in a cold sweat, cursing himself for being so foolish as to blurt out the whole plan. But Zhang Hu just smirked smugly. That's right, I agreed to it. But now I don't feel like leaving. What are you going to do about it? Zhou Hao's face fell. He admitted his mistake and quickly made himself scarce. As he left, Zhou Hao looked back with resentment. He had miscalculated this time, but he would definitely stick around to see how this ended for them. With nothing holding him back, Zhang Hu ordered his men to wreck the restaurant. With iron bars wrapped in barbed wire, every swing shattered the wooden tables and chairs. Jiang Jiao's parents could only hold each other, helpless. Jiang Jiao just stood there, stunned. This restaurant was her dream, the thing that would help her change and stand tall beside Nkiyue. I'll fight you. Pushed to the brink, Jiang Jiao was about to charge in and go all out. Fortunately, Chen Mo managed to hold her back in time. Let them smash it. For everything they break today, I'll make them pay you back tenfold. Trust me. For some reason, Jiang Jiao felt an immense sense of security and entrusted everything to Chen Mo. Chen Mo patted her head. In his past life, when he was at his most heartbroken and alone, only Jiang Jiao hadn't abandoned him. In this life, Chen Mo would protect her. Are you about done? Seeing Chen Mo step forward, Zhang Hu frowned. Who are you? Do you have a death wish, meddling in my business? Who was Chen Mo? Naturally, he was his great-grandfather. Zhang Hu and his lackeys burst out laughing at Chen Mo's words. A high school student? Is he crazy? Did he fry his brain trying to be a hero? Chen Mo ignored them and demanded that Zhang Hu's group compensate for all the damages tenfold and apologize publicly to the Jiang family. If they did, he would spare them. Zhao Gang whispered, urging Chen Mo to stop being a hero and come back. Seeing Chen Mo stand up for her family, Jiang Jiao's mother couldn't just watch him die. She told her husband to go get the money. Zhou Hao stood in the crowd. Even though he had just been punched, he was delighted to see Chen Mo about to get beaten to a pulp. Zhang Hu asked who Chen Mo's backer was. If he had one, he might spare his life. Otherwise, he wouldn't be walking out of this restaurant today. Chen Mo replied arrogantly. My backer is myself. Zhang Hu had never been talked back to so much in his life. He swore that today, he would chop off at least one of Chen Mo's hands and one of his legs. Chen Mo smiled. How long had it been since he'd heard someone threaten to chop off his limbs? How nostalgic. Zhang Hu's side was fired up, so much so that he even refused the money Jiang Jiao's mother offered. Too late. Just stand there and watch. Chun Mo leaped into the air, weaving through the thugs. Every time he reached one, he delivered a vicious blow to their family jewels. In the end, the entire group was rolling on the floor, crying in pain. Everyone present stared with their mouths agape, in complete disbelief. Zhao Gang cheered loudly, never expecting his best friend to be such an amazing fighter. Everyone was celebrating, except for Zhou Hao, whose face had turned sour. The elaborate plan he'd cooked up in the bathroom had been completely shattered by Chun Mo's prowess. Zhang, who dusted himself off, still looking completely unfazed. You're a good fighter, I'll give you that. But can you dodge a bullet? His question made Chun Mo pause and think. Even though he was at the first level of chi condensation, dodging a bullet would still be a tough challenge. Chun Mo stood still, observing. The moment he saw Zhang, who reached for his gun, he instantly rushed forward and delivered a powerful uppercut. The shock sent Zhang, who tumbling to the ground. He scrambled back to his feet. Damn it, you dare hit me? Before he could finish, Chun Mo kicked him into the air. Zhang, who coughed up blood as Chun Mo pinned him under his foot. You dare to pull a gun? I'll crush your head right now. Zhang, who begged Chun Mo to spare his life, swearing he didn't have a gun in his pocket and was just trying to scare him. Annoyed, Chun Mo changed the subject, forcing Zhang Hu to agree to pay tenfold compensation and apologize to the Zhang family. Zhang Hu agreed. Chun Mo lifted his foot and turned to leave. Now, get over here and apologize. Zhang Hu now groveled on the floor, crawling over to Jiang Jiao. Miss, please have mercy and spare me. I'm willing to compensate your family for all the damages. Jiang Jiao ordered Zhang Hu to apologize to her parents and to never trouble her family again. Zhang Hu raised his hands and kowed out, as if he were worshipping his ancestors. Zhang Hu was blind. I apologize to you both. Please forgive me. I guarantee that my men will never come to your restaurant to cause trouble again. From now on, I'll ensure its safety. Jiang Jiao's mother tentatively accepted, but she didn't need tenfold compensation. The market price would be fine. Zhang Hu was overjoyed. Before leaving, he had to ask for Jiang Jiao's permission. Jiang Jiao nodded. Zhang Hu scrambled to his feet and dragged his men away as fast as he could. Chun Mo also left, telling Jiang Jiao to call him if she ever ran into trouble again. Meanwhile, Chun Mo arrived at the Jin family estate. Jin Peiyun's grandfather personally came out to greet him. This old man, Jin Zhongruan, welcomes Grandmaster Chun. Faced with such courtesy from an elder, Chun Mo's face remained as cold as ice. Elder Jin, there's no need for formalities. If you have something to say, just say it. Peiyun was visibly annoyed by Chun Mo's attitude. Even though her grandfather had invited him, Chun Mo brazenly took the main seat. Elder Jin invited Chun Mo to taste some premium Dahong Pao tea. Chun Mo just repeated his question, asking why he had been summoned. Peiyun was fuming. Not only had Chun Mo taken the host seat, but he also refused the tea, acting superior to Elder Jin. Seeing no need for pleasantries, Elder Jin got straight to the point. He wanted to thank Chun Mo for the talismans that had cured his wife's chronic illness. Chun Mo cut him off, feeling that a simple transaction was nothing to be grateful for. They owed each other nothing. Hearing this, Elder Jin then asked if Chun Mo could cure his own illness. Only then did Chun Mo crack a smile. So this is the real reason you asked me here, isn't it? He got right down to business, telling Elder Jin to strike him with a full-powered punch so he could see. Elder Jin seemed surprised but complied, taking a deep breath and throwing a punch. Chun Mo frowned. To his surprise, the old man was an inner-realm martial artist. With just one look, Chun Mo knew what was wrong with Elder Jin. He told him that a single foundation establishment pill would cure his illness. Elder Jin was overjoyed. This illness had plagued him for decades. Every time it flared up, the pain was excruciating, and even famous doctors couldn't cure it. As long as Chun Mo could cure him, he would give him half of the Jin family's assets. Peiyun quickly tried to stop him. Grandfather, don't be rash. Chun Mo didn't even examine you properly. How can he cure you with just one look? That's too careless. Given the perfect opening, Chun Mo launched into his diagnosis. Elder Jin wasn't sick. He had simply been practicing an incomplete cultivation technique, which had caused his meridians to become blocked over time. Combined with an old internal injury from his youth that never fully healed, it was no wonder Elder Jin was in so much pain now. Elder Jin had never mentioned his internal injury, yet Chun Mo knew about it. This made him trust him even more. Grandmaster Chun is absolutely correct. It's spot on. But there was a catch. If Elder Jin wanted a complete cure, he would have to give up martial arts cultivation. Otherwise, the illness would eventually return. The important thing was whether he was willing to do so. Zhongruan was shocked to hear this requirement from Chun Mo. Giving up martial arts was no different from taking his life. However, he then lowered his head sadly and said, "But I can't bear the torment of this illness any longer." Chun Mo could understand Jin Zhongruan's feelings and closed his eyes and thought, once you've witnessed the wonders of martial arts and the immortal path, who would be willing to return to being a mere mortal? With a worried expression, Peiyun stepped forward to support him. Grandfather, After a moment of contemplation, Zhongruan let out a long sigh and replied, "This old man is 72 this year. I don't have many years left. This business has accumulated quite a bit already. That incomplete martial arts manual was something I stumbled upon by chance, yet it built the great Jin family of today. Perhaps this old man has had enough." Having thought it through, Zhongruan clasped his hands and bowed to Chun Mo, saying, "Grandmaster Chun, I am willing to give up martial arts. I only ask that you cure my illness." Seeing that the old man had come to terms with it, Chun Mo agreed. "But I don't need your family fortune. I just need 3 billion as payment for concocting the spirit pill. Have someone come and pick it up in a few days." Pei Yun was confused again. "Why wait a few days? Can't you do it now?" Her grandfather quickly stopped her. "Pei Yun, for such a miraculous pill, we must certainly give Grandmaster Chun time to prepare." Chun Mo quickly came up with an excuse to explain. "The Foundation Establishment pill isn't a particularly rare elixir. It's just that I need to prepare the medicinal ingredients." Meanwhile, he thought to himself, "The main thing is, I'm broke." Hearing this, Zhongruan's face lit up, and he eagerly asked, "I wonder what ingredients Grandmaster Chun needs? I'll have my people search for them immediately." Chun Mo replied enthusiastically, "Very well, let me write you a list." After writing the list, he handed it to the old man. "These are the items." He had another plan in mind. "I've written double the amount needed. I have my own plans for the rest." However, after looking at the list, the old man seemed a bit troubled, saying, "While these herbs are precious, they're not too difficult to find. Give me 2 days." Chun Mo didn't press Jin Zhongruan. "Call me after you've gathered them all. I will immediately refine the Foundation Establishment pill." He then asked the old man another question. "Elder Jin, how much do you know about the martial arts world?" Hearing this, Zhongruan showed surprise on his aged face and answered honestly, "Not much. After all, my ability to cultivate martial arts is solely based on that cultivation manual, which can't compare to the inherited ancient martial sects." Chun Mo was puzzled and replied, "Are there still ancient martial sects in Dali Kingdom today?" The old man wasn't a member of a martial sect, so he told him everything he knew. "Although I don't know where their mountain gates are located, but they definitely exist, and they have been passed down for a very long time." The more he heard, the more Chun Mo's curiosity grew. "Then first, tell me what you know about the martial arts world." Meanwhile, Chun Mo silently speculated. It's possible Elder Jin has connections to those ancient martial arts sects. Drawing on decades of knowledge, the old man began to explain everything he knew. The martial arts world has 4 major realms, known as the 4 realms of martial arts. The outer realm, the inner realm, the transformation realm, and the divine realm. Those are the outer realm, the inner realm, the transformation realm, and the legendary divine realm. Each of the first 3 realms, outer, inner, and transformation, is further divided into 3 minor stages: initial, advanced, and peak. After entering the transformation realm, one is revered as a martial arts grandmaster. Martial arts grandmasters are as rare as a phoenix feather. Each one is a powerful figure who guards a region, establishes a great family, and represents the pinnacle of martial arts today. As for the divine realm, no one has reached it in nearly 100 years. Chun Mo then grew curious about Zhongruan's strength and asked him directly, "What realm are you in?" Elder Jin replied cheerfully, "I am an advanced stage inner realm martial artist. In all my years of fighting one-on-one, I've never met my match." At this, Chun Mo began to think, "So right now, I'm probably at the peak inner realm, just a step away from the transformation realm." However, these are just power classifications. They don't represent one's true combat ability. Therefore, I am not afraid of a transformation realm grandmaster. But if I were to encounter a legendary divine realm master, I would be in grave danger. I must increase my strength quickly. The scene shifts, and we find Chun Mo back at Saidang First High School. His thoughts, however, were preoccupied. Today was the day report cards were handed out, and it was also the day the Yin family was supposed to arrive to cancel the engagement. "Yin family, if you dare to treat me today as you did in my past life, I will make sure you never return to Shidu." Inside Class 6, the air buzzed with students laughing and chatting about their test scores. "How'd you do?" "No idea." "Hey, we should hang out during winter break." "Yeah, definitely." Chun Mo was also a student in this class, so upon seeing him, Lin Tao, the loyal lackey of the rich kid Yuan Hao, sneered at him. "Chun Mo, you didn't even take the test, and you still have a nerve to show up for your report card?" Chun Mo ignored him, simply walked to his desk, sat down, and remained silent. But this quiet demeanor of his unintentionally caught Jiang Jiao's eye. She gazed at him. He's suddenly so quiet, and somehow more handsome. And Kiyue was also observing him in silence. Seeing her interest in Chun Mo, Yuan Hao's face soured with jealousy. "Only Kiyue is worthy of my attention," he thought. Chun Mo is nothing but a worthless loser. When the bell rang, the homeroom teacher, Li Ying, walked in and called for order. "All right, settle down everyone. I'm handing out the report cards now." She handed out the report cards one by one. "Yang Song, good job, you've improved. Zhao Gang, you dropped 5 places. You need to try harder. NQA, Li Ying said with a smile, handing her the card, 2nd in our class and 9th in the entire school. That's 1 rank up from last year. Excellent work. You and Hao, she announced next, top of the class and 3rd in the school. I hope you can clinch 1st place in both before you graduate. Hearing this, the other students murmured in surprise, some with looks of admiration. Wow, he's a genius. But when she got to Chun Mo, her smile vanished, replaced by a look of anger. Chun Mo, 1st place from the bottom, both in this class and in the entire school. You are the 1st student in the history of Saidang High to turn in a blank exam paper. The whole class suddenly fell silent for a few seconds. The silence was broken by a wave of laughter and taunts. 2 first places, 1st from the bottom. Meanwhile, a confused Zhao Gang turned to Yang Song. But what about how he acted at Jiang Jiao's family's restaurant yesterday? Yang Song replied, for someone that powerful, who cares about grades? But the one who reacted most strongly was the class president, Xiu Li. Outraged, she shot up from her seat, pointed at Chen Mo, and snapped. Chen Mo is a disgrace to our class. He's going to drag down the whole class's average. Chen Mo, being called out like that, shot back angrily. You talk too much? Why don't you shut up? Not backing down, Xiu Li challenged. What did you say? Say it again. With eyes burning with anger, he calmly repeated, word for word. You talk too much. She burst into tears and ran to Teacher Li Ying. Teacher, Chen Mo is bullying me. Taking Xiu Li's side, the teacher snapped at Chen Mo, apologized to the class president now. Not only did Chen Mo not apologize, he even insisted he was right. Teacher Li, I don't see what I did wrong. I admit it was wrong to skip the exam, but I had my reasons. If you gave me another chance, I'm confident I wouldn't score lower than the class president. After hearing that, Lin Tao laughed loudly and mocked Chen Mo. He said he'd do better than the class president. Did I hear that right? Although she didn't believe him, Li Ying made a proposal. Chen Mo, obviously we can't make everyone retake the midterm just for you. But I have a practice test from Huanggang High School right here. You and Xiu Li will take it now, right in front of the whole class. Whoever loses has to apologize to the other person, and this argument ends. Okay. After hearing this proposal, the entire class was completely surprised and started whispering. Huanggang High. Their practice tests are said to be 10 times harder than the actual college entrance exam. There's no way Chen Mo can do it. Seizing the opportunity to look superior, Xiu Li said smugly, Chen Mo, do you dare? If not, then apologize to me right now. Don't embarrass yourself further. He replied without a trace of fear. In this world, there's nothing that I, Chen Mo, do not dare to do. And so, Li Ying arranged for the two to sit at the front desks and told the rest of the class, everyone else, move back and stay quiet. To get a quick result, the time limit is 1 hour. We'll see who gets the higher score. Now begin. After she said this, both of them quickly started on their papers. As the two focused on their papers, the class watched them and whispered. Even Xiu Li is biting her pen and frowning. This test must be really hard. But look at Chen Mo. He looks so relaxed, as if the test is a piece of cake. And his grades are nowhere near the class president's. Lin Tao scowled at Chen Mo's calm demeanor. He's just pretending, he thought. That loser is definitely just scribbling random answers. Jiang Jiao, on the other hand, looked worried but also held a sliver of faith. Chen Mo isn't the type to guess wildly, she told herself. He's actually really smart. Yue, however, watched him in tense silence. Among those certain he would lose was, of course, Yuan Hao. There's no way Chen Mo can win this, he thought. Half an hour later, Chen Mo put down his pen. He walked up to turn in his paper to Li Ying. Teacher Li, how many days is winter break this year? She quickly answered. It starts tomorrow and ends on the 16th of next month. Hearing this, Chen Mo turned to leave. Got it. Seeing him leave, Xiu Li thought he was running away because he was afraid of losing. So she yelled angrily, stop. You just scribbled some nonsense, and now you're trying to run? Apologize to me now. Chen Mo wasn't angry at all. He just said calmly, I'm finished. You take a look. Li Ying couldn't believe her ears when she heard Chen Mo say he was done, and replied in shock, you're finished? The next second, she quickly checked Chen Mo's paper. And then Li Ying shouted in astonishment. Correct, correct, all correct. All 100 questions answered. Not a single one wrong. How is this possible? Lin Tao's face turned pale with shock. What? No way. But Jiang Jiao was ecstatic. I told you, Chen Mo is the best. Xiu Li quickly snatched Chen Mo's paper from the teacher's hand, checking it herself, and saying in confusion, no, it's impossible. Her eyes widened as she carefully checked from the first question. After confirming that every answer was correct, Xiu Li slumped into her chair, crestfallen. If Chen Mo is a loser, she thought miserably, then I'm worse than a loser. Hearing her words, Chen Mo let out a faint, smug smile. He said in a mocking tone, my abilities are not something you mere mortals can comprehend. As Chen Mo stepped into the schoolyard, he was startled by a strange chant. Chen Mo, we want to break the engagement. Chinemo, we want to break the engagement. Chinemo, we want to break the engagement. Chinemo, we want to break the engagement. A group of girls was dancing and chanting in front of him, leaving Chun Mo utterly confused. He grumbled to himself in frustration. If I had a choice, I'd rather face 20 Transformation Realm Grandmasters than this crowd of nosy women. Just then, someone loudly signaled to them. Upon seeing this person, Chun Mo quickly asked, "Who are you?" The newcomer, Yin Feiying, pointed a finger right in Chun Mo's face. "My great-grandfather is the cousin of the grandson of my cousin Qingqing's great-grandfather. On behalf of the Yin family and my cousin Qingqing, I am officially calling off your engagement." He never expected things to unfold like this. A look of shock crossed his face. It wasn't like this in my past life, he thought. Did my rebirth change the course of history? Since he didn't know who this guy was, he asked again, "Who are you? And are you sure you can speak for the Yin family?" Yin Fei confidently introduced himself. "I am Yin Fei, but you can call me Young Master Fei." "All right, my message is delivered. This young master has places to be, so don't bother trying to hold me back." He appeared as suddenly as he left, leaving Chun Mo stunned for a moment. He then tossed a wad of cash at the girls and ordered, "All right, let's go." After grabbing the cash, one of the girls called out cheerfully to the departing Yin Fei, "Hey kid, if you have any more easy gigs like this, be sure to call us." He let out a sigh and mumbled, "So the Yin family has a spoiled brat like him." Suddenly, it clicked for Chun Mo. So this is the Yin family's game, he thought. Just as Chun Mo was about to leave, and Kiyue rushed over. "Wait." Hearing her voice, he slowly turned around. "Classmate, is there something you need?" Kiyue noticed his sudden change in attitude and felt a pang of sadness. He never used to be like this with me, she thought. Why is he suddenly so cold? However, she still slowly walked up to him and said in a low voice, "Mom told me to ask you, where have you been these past few days? Why haven't you come back to our house? She's really worried about you." Chun Mo immediately turned to leave, tossing over his shoulder in a cold voice, "I've rented a room. I won't be bothering your family anymore. Goodbye." With that, he walked away. Seeing him act this way, and Kiyue shouted angrily after him, "What is that supposed to mean?" Chun Mo didn't even look back, leaving her standing there alone. His actions hurt her, and she whispered in disappointment, "Chun Mo, why have you changed so much?" Nearby, Yuan Hao was secretly watching her. Realizing Kiyue had feelings for Chun Mo, he was filled with jealousy. "Chun Mo, you've become a threat to me, so don't blame me for what happens next." Back at the Yin residence, Yin Fei reported the cancellation of the engagement. An elder listened, then asked in confusion, "Young Master Fei, I truly don't understand the meaning of this spectacle." However, he didn't seem to think it was a big deal, replying arrogantly while leisurely sipping his tea. "I don't know what the Yin family sees in Chun Mo. They don't actually want to break the engagement. This whole noisy cancellation is just a show for the Leaf family. Besides, Chun Mo will understand the Yin family's intentions." The scene shifts. Chun Mo did indeed understand the Yin family's intentions. They're only interested in my status as an inner-realm martial artist, but they don't want to openly defy the Leaf family. The Leaf family aren't idiots. What will they do now? Elsewhere, at the Leaf family's main house. After learning what Yin Fei did, Li Fen went to find Dong Yang. He frowned and said, "Father, that was the Yin family's move." The old man didn't reply, lost in thought. If I'd shown a little bit of familial affection back then, our Li family would have had another outstanding talent like Li Zhe. The Li family could have become the leader of the 6 great superfamilies. But now it's too late. Chun Mo has become a rival with immense potential. The Yin family's attitude has already proven this. After thinking everything through, Dong Yang turned to his son and said, "Let's put the Yin family's matter aside for now. No matter what, on the surface, they're still on our side. But we absolutely cannot give Chun Mo time to grow. The prestige of the Leaf family will not allow anyone to tarnish it." Dong Yang gave an instruction, "Make a move on the Manhwa group and the Yuyang Chun family. While Chun Mo's support network is still weak, destroy all of his sources of help." Li Wen quickly understood and replied, "Yes, I'll get on it right away." The scene changes again. Back in his room, Chun Mo is deep in meditation. Just then, his mother, Su Fong, called him. Seeing his mother's call, Chun Mo quickly answered, "Hello, Mom. What's up?" The moment she heard her son's voice, her first words were to scold him for moving out. "You little rascal. Aunt May told me you rented a room. Since when? Where did you get the money? Where are you up to?" Chun Mo quickly explained, "Mom, you know everything about me. What's there to worry about?" But Su Fong didn't agree and ordered her son, "Move back immediately. I can't rest easy with you living out there alone." He quickly came up with a reason. "Mom, I'm learning kung fu from a mysterious old man. It's really inconvenient to live at the Yin family's house." Inside, Chun Mo thought, "Sorry, Mom, the mysterious old man doesn't exist." In the end, though she was still worried, she gave in to her son. "All right, fine, but you must promise me you'll be safe." He happily replied, "Don't worry, Mom. I promise." Su Fong was a considerate person, so she told her son, "Also, you need to go talk to the Yin family. Aunt May thinks she did something wrong and is very worried. Hearing this, Chun Mo sighed to himself. Aunt May really gets on my nerves, but Uncle Lin has always taken good care of me. I need to repay his kindness. To reassure his mother, Chun Mo promised. Don't worry, Mom. I know what to do. The scene shifts to the western suburbs of Saitang, in the Yangue Lake Villa area. Following his mother's advice, he rang the doorbell of the family's house. Kiyue quickly opened the door. Seeing Chun Mo, she said in surprise, "You're here." He replied softly, "Hello. Your mom invited me for dinner." Hearing this, she smiled and invited him in. "Please come in." When Aunt May heard he had arrived, she greeted him warmly. "Little Mo is here?" "Yeah, go talk with Little Mo. Dinner will be ready soon." Kiyue was momentarily at a loss for words, so she just looked at Chun Mo in silence. As she observed him, she silently compared him to another. Even though he seems to have changed a lot, he's still unrefined. Compared to Yuan Hao, he's still far behind. A moment later, Uncle An's face lit up when he saw Chun Mo. "Little Mo, you're here." Chun Mo had a good impression of him, so upon seeing the man, he stood up and bowed politely. "Greetings, Uncle An." When she saw how his attitude towards Aunt May was completely different from his attitude towards Uncle An, Kiyue felt confused and wondered to herself, why do I feel like Chun Mo's attitude towards Dad is so different from how he treats Mom and me? Uncle An asked about Chun Mo's father. "How has your dad been lately?" Chun Mo replied politely, "Thank you for asking, Uncle An. My dad really wants to come visit and catch up with you, but he's been too busy with work to find the time." Uncle An then praised Chun Mo's father. "Your father is such a hard worker. If he had accepted the family's help, he would have become a key figure in the administration long ago." Chun Mo didn't say anything more, just replied obediently, "Yes, sir." A short while later, many delicious dishes were laid out on the table. Aunt May then asked Chun Mo, "Little Mo, why did you rent a room outside?" Not knowing about this, Uncle An turned to her in surprise. "Little Mo moved out?" Aunt May turned to her husband with an annoyed look and chided him. "You're so busy outside from morning till night. You never care about what happens at home." He could only laugh awkwardly in response. Chun Mo quickly stepped in to help him. "Annie, I've already made up my mind about this. Let's not talk about it anymore." She was flustered, her words trailing off. Kiyue felt Chun Mo's tone towards her mother was inappropriate and reminded him, "Chun Mo, watch your attitude." Seeing that he and her daughter didn't seem to get along, Aunt May was displeased and thought, "This won't do. I have to find a way to improve the relationship between Little Mo and Ye. Then, the doorbell rang again. Kiyue stood up and happily told her parents, "That must be Yenner calling for me. We made plans to go to a classmate's birthday party together." She then hurried to open the door. Her face lit up. "Tian Qian Yenner." The two girls greeted her back, "Hello." Seeing them both there, Kiyue was a bit confused and asked, "Didn't we agree to meet at the cafe? Why did you suddenly come here to find me? Does everyone else know?" One of them quickly explained, "They're all waiting in the car. The plan changed. We're going camping first, then to karaoke." Kiyue turned and replied, "Oh, okay. Wait for me a minute. I'll go get my jacket." Tian Qian urged her on. "Hurry up." As Kiyue put on her jacket, she told her mother, "I'm going out with my friends. I won't be home for dinner tonight." Her mother quickly stood up and asked, "Wait, take Little Mo with you. I'm not comfortable with you going out alone." Uncle An turned to Chun Mo, "Little Mo, please go with Ye. Aunt May chimed in cheerfully, "Yes, Little Mo, do me a favor and go out with Ye for a bit." Though reluctant, Chun Mo had to agree. "Okay, I'll go with her." Hearing this, Kiyue urged him, "Then let's go." And so, Chun Mo followed Kiyue outside. However, Tian Qian turned to Kiyue with an annoyed look and asked, "Who is he?" Kiyue quickly replied, "He's the son of my dad's friend, here for school." Meanwhile, though he said nothing, Chun Mo knew these two well. Tian Qian is a rich girl who always looks down on others. She's the girlfriend of Zhang Xian, the captain of the school's basketball team. In my past life, she often gave me a hard time. Yenner, although she appears cold on the outside, is kind-hearted. After graduation, I never heard any news about her again. If Kiyue wants to ignore me, that's fine by me. I'll have more free time. When they met up with the others, Zhang Xian was extremely surprised to see Chun Mo. And so, he taunted him, "Well, who do we have here? Isn't it Chun Mo, the famous loser who skipped the exam?" Hearing this, Chun Mo felt annoyed and thought, "This is something from our class 6. How could their class 2 know about it so quickly? Unless someone intentionally wanted to humiliate me." Besides, Kiyue remained silent, not saying a word in his defense. Not stopping there, Zhang Xian continued to insult Chun Mo. "You think you can pursue the school bell? Why don't you take a look in the mirror and see if you're worthy?" Tian Qian quickly stepped over, linked arms with Kiyue, and joined in with her boyfriend. "That's right. Ye belongs to Yuan Hao. He's the son of the deputy prefect. What are you? And you still dare to cling to Ye?" Finally, unable to take it anymore, Chun Mo retorted, "In my eyes, what are you? You dare to speak to me like that? Do you think you're worthy?" His eyes were now filled with anger. Tian Qian quickly ran to her boyfriend and said pitifully, "Zhang Xian, he's bullying me." He quickly played the part of the good boyfriend and said, "You brat, apologize to Tian Qian right now, and maybe I'll consider letting you off. Shun Mo replied without a hint of fear, you punk, kowtow, and apologize to me right now, and maybe I'll consider letting you off. At this point, Zhang Xian was so angry he cursed, you bastard. Quite arrogant, aren't you? Well, today I'll teach you some manners. Qf finally stepped in to stop them. Alright, stop fighting. Today is Tian Qian's birthday. She then went over to Chun Mo and advised him, can't you just back down a little for Zhang Xian? With your small build, one punch from him and you'll be on the ground. Beside her, Yenner remained silent. It was this quiet state of hers that caught Chun Mo's attention. Just then, Yenner happened to see him looking at her. And then Yenner blushed and thought to herself, why is he looking at me so strangely? It's as if he's known me for years. A moment later, Zhang Xian, acting magnanimous, said, forget it. I'll let it slide for the school bell's sake. I'll let you off this one time. He turned away and said in an annoyed tone, but my car is a bit small. Not enough room for a big shot like you. You can ride in another car. Everyone else chimed in with Zhang Xian. This car is full. My car is full too. No way, no way. Don't tell me you have to walk. However, Yenner suddenly offered, Chinamo, we can squeeze 3 in here. It'll just be a little tight. But Kiyue immediately objected. Yenner, why should he squeeze in with us? Tian Qian also disapproved. Little Yenner, have you fallen for him or something? She replied angrily, what are you talking about? We're all classmates. I just don't want him to be too embarrassed. To placate Yenner, Kiyue offered another suggestion. All right, forget it. We know you're just being kind. I'll go talk to Shi Yang in the back and have him ride with them. And with that, the group began their journey. Shi Yang, a speed enthusiast, was driving recklessly fast, weaving through traffic. Kiyue's friends, instead of stopping him, cheered him on. Shi Yang is the best. This is so exciting. Just then, a car in front of them became an obstacle. Shi Yang gritted his teeth in frustration. This piece of junk. It's blocking the way. Did you run out of gas? You coward. If you can't drive, then don't. A girl chimed in. Just a cheap piece of scrap metal daring to get in Brother Yang's way. Unable to control his speed, Shi Yang's car gradually closed in on the car ahead. He yelled out in alarm. In an instant, Shi Yang's car crashed into the one in front. The next second, he got out of the car, crying and shouting, my baby. Dao Zi, the driver of the front car, got out angrily and yelled, do you even know how to drive? This is illegal parking, you get it? Shi Yang, refusing to see reason, blamed him instead. Look what you did. You ran into my car. With no other choice, Dao Zi went to consult Wen Xiong. A kid rear-ended us and is now blaming me for parking illegally. Before he could answer, Shi Yang walked up and yelled, who are you talking about? However, since they were in a hurry and didn't want to get tangled up, Wen Xiong ordered Dao Zi, forget it, 4th Master Jean is waiting for me. Let's not waste any more time. He quickly replied, yes, master. Before leaving, Dao Zi didn't forget to look back at him with a disdainful expression. Treat it like that. Shi Yang yelled, stop. You're not going to pay for my car, and you think you can just run away? In your dreams. Seeing the car in front stop, Zhang Xian and the others got out and asked Shi Yang what's going on. He quickly blamed Dao Zi, this guy. He slammed on his brakes and made me crash into him. Now, he's trying to run away. Zhang Xian, defending his friend, said sternly, then we can't let him get away. I'll block them from the front. Hearing everyone agree in unison, okay. As soon as the words were out, the group split up to surround the other car, taking Dao Zi by surprise. They also blocked the spot where Shi Yang's car was parked. At that moment, Wen Xiong was still casually smoking in the car. A second later, he said to himself with a self-deprecating laugh, I never thought the day would come when Wen Xiong, would be pushed around by a bunch of kids. Wen Xiong ordered Dao Zi, get out of the car. He immediately ran to open the door for him. Zhang Xian hesitated, you are... Suddenly, he blurted out, the arrogant Wen Xiong. Wen Xiong swaggered and asked, a punk like you has heard of my nickname? Whose kid are you? Zhang Xian bowed his head and replied, my father is Zhang Gue. Hearing this, Wen Xiong said, so you're Zhang Gui's son. Out of respect for your father, you can go. Zhang Xian immediately bowed and thanked him profusely. Thank you, Brother Xiong, for your great kindness. Zhang Xian looked at Shi Yang and said, hurry up and thank Brother Xiong for not holding this against us youngsters. He immediately growled, I said you could go, not him. Zhang Xian and Shi Yang were terrified. Zhang Xian quickly said, Brother Xiong, you're a famous figure in Saidang. Please don't lower yourself to our level. But he didn't care and replied, too late. Dao Zi, call our men over. Zhang Xian clasped his hands, begging, Brother Xiong, please for my father's sake, let him go. Wen Xiong retorted, kid, you go home and ask your old man if he has the guts to tell me to give him face. Zhang Xian was sweating profusely. He thought to himself, Wen Xiong is the king of this entire Saidang area. I heard he has even bigger powers backing him up. In front of him, my family is nothing. What should I do? He suddenly flashed a wicked smile and said, if you want to go, fine. Just have those 2 girls come have a drink with me to ease my mood. Hearing this, Kiyue and Yenner grabbed each other's hands in fear. Chu's men all got out of their cars at once. They said, what's up? Shi Yang knelt down, crying, Brother Xiong, I was wrong. I'll compensate you for the damages. Please, just let me go. When Xiong didn't budge and, on the contrary, became more arrogant. Compensate? 1 minute of my time is worth 3 billion. You can calculate how much you should pay. Hearing this, he panicked and grabbed Zhang Xian's hand, begging, Brother Xian, save me. He ordered his men, take this kid and the 2 girls into the car. As for the rest, beat them up a bit. Make sure they remember this. Seeing the henchmen rush forward, Zhang Xian and his group cried out in panic, Don't come over here. Suddenly, something flashed by, blocking the thug's path. Chinamo said coldly, These 2, I'm protecting them. When Xiong immediately asked, And who the hell are you? Chinemo smiled lightly and said, I'm someone you can't afford to mess with. He raised an eyebrow and smirked. Kiyue was skeptical. Why does this guy always have to show off? What can he possibly do by stepping up? Yenner also wondered, Chinemo, how are you going to get us out of this? When Xiong pointed his finger and asked again, I can tell you're bluffing. You can't fool me. Who are you, really? He calmly replied, Didn't I already tell you? I'm someone you can't afford to mess with. Are you deaf? As soon as the words left his mouth, Zhang Xian and Shi Yang's faces turned pale. They thought, does this guy have a death wish? How dare he talk to Chu Wenxiong like that? Chu Wenxiong is probably going to kill him. Wenxiong's face turned purple with rage. He said sternly, Get him. The henchmen charged forward in unison. Chun Mo swung his hand, slapping them across the face a few times. Chu Wenxiong immediately faltered. How can he be so outrageously strong? The rest of you, all of you get him. The men charged forward again, cursing, Go to hell. Chun Mo moved in a blur. He unleashed a series of quick strikes. The thugs collapsed to the ground, lying in a heap. Ow, my ribs. My arm. Oh, my life. He was stunned. These subordinates of mine are no pushovers, yet they were all taken down in less than a minute. He looked at Chun Mo and thought, and as for Chin Mo, his expression hasn't changed. He's not even out of breath. It's as if he wasn't the one who fought at all. The friends watched in utter amazement. Is Chin Mo really that good? He took on a dozen guys by himself. Daozi stepped forward aggressively and declared, Let me teach him a lesson. When Xiong replied, Don't kill him. He walked up and threatened, You brat, you'll regret ever crossing me. Chin Mo asked coldly, Are you done with your last words? Daozi's eyes bulged with rage. You goddamn piece of trash. He instantly puffed out his cheeks and glared. Behind him, the boss chuckled to himself. Daozi's strength has improved quite a bit. He threw a punch, but the punch was stopped. Chin Mo remained calm while Daozi coughed up blood. He staggered backward. Wen Xiong exclaimed in horror, Daozi is a special forces soldier that I spent a fortune to recruit. And now he's been sent flying? What's going on? Everyone around them cheered in unison. How is he so amazing? He's such a good fighter. Zhang Xian, meanwhile, was sweating bullets, thinking, and I was just about to teach Shonemo a lesson. I must have a death wish. Kiyue thought to herself, so this is his real trump card. With this kind of martial prowess, he certainly has the right to be arrogant. But in this day and age, money and resources are still what matters most. Compared to Chung Yuan Hao, he's still far behind. Meanwhile, Yenner thought to herself, a man like this is the kind of man I want to marry. When Xiong asked Daozi, how are you? He clutched his arm and replied, My arm is broken. He's most likely a legendary martial arts cultivator. Hearing this, he was stunned again. Martial arts. When Xiong suddenly made an offer. Kid, you're pretty good. How about you come work as my bodyguard? The salary is 350 million a month. We'll forget about what happened today. What do you say? Everyone around them thought, a salary of 350 million is secondary. The prestige of being one of Chu Wenxiong's men is what's really valuable. Chun Mo replied casually, You want me to be your bodyguard? Are you insulting me? He pulled out a gun and threatened, You brat. I'm already giving you face. Don't push it. Can you fight against a gun? The crowd immediately went into a frenzy. He has a gun. Oh crap, we're done for. Meanwhile, Chin Mo remained silent and unresponsive. Suddenly, his brow furrowed. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he spoke. I'll give you one chance. Put down the gun. Then, kowtow and beg for your life, and I'll consider sparing you. Chu Wenxiong pointed his weapon at Chun Mo and laughed, You little brat. I'm really curious. Where do you get all this confidence? Yenner whispered worriedly. Chun Mo, can't you just back down a little? Your life is more important. Chun Mo thought to himself, Although I can't block bullets yet, I have many ways to kill him before he can pull the trigger. Suddenly, his phone rang. The 18th of the first lunar month is a lucky and auspicious day. The 18th of the first lunar month is a lucky and auspicious day. He pulled out his phone and said, Hold on, I need to take this call. Hearing this, when Xiong taunted him, Go ahead, say your last words. On the other end of the line, a voice said, Mr. Chun, the medicinal herbs you needed before have all been prepared. It was Pei Yun. She asked him, When can you come to treat my grandfather's illness? He replied casually, I'm a bit tied up right now, so I won't be able to make it for another hour and a half. Pei Yun quickly responded, Mr. Chun, are you in some kind of trouble? Perhaps I can help you resolve it. Chinamo then said, well, there's a guy named Chu Wonxiong pointing a gun at me. I have to deal with him before I can come over. Suddenly, Pei-yun said something, and Chinamo handed the phone to the man and said, when Xiong said, confused, let's hear who you managed to call. From the phone, Pei-yun's voice boomed, Chu Wonxiong, are you trying to cause a rebellion? How dare you offend my grandfather's esteemed guest? Hearing this, his face turned pale as he hastily explained, second young miss, what are you talking about? I would never dare to offend the old master's honored guest. Pei-yun said angrily, the high school student standing in front of you is my grandfather's esteemed guest. That's Mr. Chun. Even I wouldn't dare raise my voice to him. He asked again, trembling. Old Master Jin's esteemed guest. Mr. Chun? Chun-mo smiled faintly and asked, can I have my phone back now? When Xiong answered fearfully, he respectfully handed it back with both hands and said, so, it is Mr. Chun. I was blind and failed to recognize your greatness. Please, find it in your heart to forgive me. On the phone, Pei-yun said, Mr. Chun, I've already given Chu Wonxiong a piece of my mind. Please spare his life. Send me your location, and I'll send someone to pick you up right away. He replied, all right. Chinamo looked at Wen Xiong's resentful face and said coldly, all right, let's end this here. And stop making that face. It's hideous. The man quickly smiled and replied, yes, of course. Thank you, Mr. Chun. The henchmen were immediately bewildered, wondering to themselves, just one phone call, and Chu Wenxiong admitted he was wrong and apologized to a high school kid? Is this really Chu Wenxiong? Zhang Xian and Shi Yang were just as shocked, thinking, what in the world just happened? Who am I? Where am I? My brain can't keep up with this. Chinamo said to Yenner and Kiyue, I have something to do. You guys go on ahead. Yenner hesitated, but meanwhile, Kiyue urged her, let's go. The group quickly ran back towards the cars. Hurry up. Scene change. At Jin Zhongruin's home. His hand is healed. Master Chun. Pei-yun bowed in greeting. Welcome, Master Chun. As he walked in, his attention was drawn to the items on the table. He looked them over and said, the quality of these herbs is pretty decent. Pei-yun asked him, Master Chun, do you need any other equipment? Like a cauldron, for instance? Hearing this, Chun-mo asked curiously, who told you that you need a cauldron for pill refining? Pei-yun answered naively, isn't that how it's written in novels? The better the cauldron, the more effective the pill, right? He laughed and said, a cauldron? Then he picked up the plate of herbs and continued, all I need are these 2 hands. A true immortal cultivator doesn't need a furnace to refine pills, Chun-mo thought. He formed the hand seals for the condensing spirit formation. Then, he pointed 2 fingers, manipulating the herbs as he gave a command. The herbs swirled into a circle and transformed into pills. He conjured a talisman and shouted, Foundation pill. As he spoke, the talisman transformed into a pill. Chun-mo let out a breath. He thought to himself, if it weren't for my extensive experience in pill refining, and the fact that the Foundation pill is only a first-grade pill, I probably wouldn't have been able to refine it successfully with my current first-level Qi condensation realm. Zhongruin immediately asked, Grandmaster Chun, how is it? He held out the pill and said, take this. Just swallow it directly. The old man took it with trembling hands, his eyes welling up with tears. Pei-yun watched her grandfather swallow the pill and asked, Grandpa, how is it? Is it working? Elder Jin sat in a meditative posture, his body enveloped in a current of life force. Pei-yun asked Chun-mo worriedly, is this pill really going to work? He replied, don't disturb him. Just wait. Suddenly, Zhongruin's eyes flew open. He looked at his body with joy and thought, not only has it cured the terrible illness within me, but my martial arts cultivation has also advanced a level. I've reached the peak of the inner realm. Elder Jin clasped his hands and bowed low. Grandmaster Chun, you have given me a new life. Please accept my kowtow. Chun-mo replied, I gave you a pill. You pay the fee. This is a transaction. No thanks are necessary. He handed Zhongruin a piece of paper and said, out of consideration for Jin Pei-yun's faith in my talisman, I will help you complete your missing cultivation technique. From now on, you can continue to cultivate your martial arts. With tears in his eyes, the old man opened the paper and began to read, mumbling to himself. Oh my God, it's really it. This is unbelievable. Elder Jin fell to his knees and kowtowed, hastily thanking Chun-mo, Grandmaster Chun. I don't know how I can ever repay your kindness. Please, accept this kowtow. Pei-yun was completely shocked. Grandpa. Zhongruin looked at Pei-yun and said, Little Yun, hurry and kneel to thank Grandmaster Chun. Obeying the old man, Pei-yun also knelt and thanked Chun-mo. Jin Pei-yun of the Jin family kneels to thank Grandmaster Chun. Elder Jin shed tears, thinking to himself, this complete cultivation technique can be passed down to the descendants of the Jin family, becoming a timeless legacy. Chun-mo thought to himself, with the technique in this book, Jin Zhongruin will surely be able to become a transformation realm grandmaster in less than 3 years. Forget kowtowing. Even if the Jin family built a shrine to worship me, it wouldn't be an exaggeration. He started to leave and said, all right, Just transfer the money into my account. I have other business to attend to, so I'll be leaving now. Zhongruan bowed low. I respectfully see you off, Grandmaster Chun. Watching Chun Mo walk away, Pei-yun asked her grandfather doubtfully, Grandpa, he just took one look at you and was able to complete your cultivation technique? That seems a bit too unbelievable, doesn't it? Elder Jean replied, Little Yun, you're not a martial artist, so you don't understand just how terrifying Grandmaster Chun is. The old man continued, Little Yun, warn everyone in our Jean family that we must never offend Mr. Chun. If anyone dares to disobey, they are to be expelled from the Jean family immediately. Zhongruan emphasized, especially your troublemaker father. Tell him to keep his subordinates in line. If something like what happened today occurs again, don't blame me for not saving him any face. Elder Jean added one more instruction, Pei-yun, when you transfer the money to Mr. Chun, remember to add an extra 0. She replied respectfully, Yes, Grandpa. I'll do it right away. Night has fallen. Chun Mo was walking down the street, talking on the phone. He said, Don't worry. I'm fine. After hanging up, he thought, I didn't expect Murong Yenner to call and check up on me. He opened the door to his apartment, his mind still on his training. I need to seize this time to cultivate. Outside, the scene was tranquil. Chun Mo sighed and thought, in 5 days at most, I should be able to break through to the second level of chi condensation. Suddenly, his phone rang. Who's calling now? Chun Mo asked, Hello, who is this? The other side replied, Yin Qingsheng. Chun Mo was stunned. Yin Qingsheng? She continued, I've arrived in Saidang. Come pick me up. He was completely bewildered, a series of questions running through his mind. How did Yin Qingsheng get my number? She's in Saidang and wants me to pick her up? What is the Yin family planning? At the airport, Qingsheng, dressed splendidly, walked with Tang Tang following behind her. Tang Tang thought cautiously. Back at the Yin residence, she was protected by inner realm martial artists. Now that we've left, it won't be as safe. She sighed worriedly. I'm starting to regret going along with my young miss on this crazy idea. Chun Mo waved, Miss Yin. Qingsheng looked at Chun Mo and thought to herself, although I, Yin Qingsheng, am not one to judge by appearances, my fiancé looks awfully plain. But she also thought, he has the aura of someone who has weathered many storms. Is he really just an ignorant and incompetent rich kid? She commanded, Take me to where you're staying. Chun Mo replied. Scene change. At Chun Mo's apartment. He pulled Qingsheng's suitcase and asked her, Are you planning to stay here? Not getting a hotel? Tang Tang frowned and said, The young miss must stay by your side. Qingsheng's face flushed. Tang Tang also suddenly became embarrassed and quickly corrected herself. I mean, it's not safe at a hotel. She pointed at Chun Mo and continued, Since the young miss has come to Saidang, you are obligated to take on the great responsibility of protecting her. Chun Mo looked away and replied, Then you two can sleep in here. I'll sleep outside. Tang Tang scowled to herself. How dare he talk back? He doesn't know what's good for him. Meanwhile, Qingsheng said softly, Sorry to impose. As Chun Mo tidied up, he muttered to himself, Good thing I chose a one-bedroom apartment. Otherwise, I'd be sleeping on the lawn right now. Tang Tang suddenly said, I'm going out to buy a few things. I'm warning you. Keep your hands to yourself. If I find out you've been bullying the young miss, I'll deal with you. He quickly replied, Don't worry, I'm not that kind of person. She added another instruction and one more thing. Do not leave the young miss's side until I get back. There are many people who wish for something to happen to her. Qingsheng then told her, Tang Tang, you can go. I trust his character. Chun Mo's face darkened. Looks like my peaceful life is over. In the living room, Chun Mo asked Qingsheng, Want some water? She replied, I already drank on the high-speed train. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. Both of them fell silent. Qingsheng secretly glanced at Chun Mo and thought, Pampered rich kid, arrogant and rebellious, drops out of an exam. None of that matches the Chun Mo standing before me. Chun Mo crossed his arms and thought, The heaven and earth spiritual energy in the jade stone for the condensing spirit formation is almost depleted. I need to find a new one quickly. He thought of Chun Songzi and mused, but it's very difficult to find a jade stone that meets my requirements. Looks like I'll have to go ask that nominal disciple of mine. I can teach him a few Taoist techniques while I'm at it, so his cultivation won't be so pitifully low. Chun Mo glanced over at Qingsheng and continued his thought, and then there's this young miss from the Yin family. He pondered, It seems my rebirth has caused some minor changes in destiny. Not being able to predict the future feels a bit dangerous. Suddenly, Qingsheng spoke up, Aren't you curious why I suddenly came to find you? Chun Mo replied, Why? She hesitated. To be honest, I don't know either. I don't want my destiny to be controlled by others. He remained calm. Qingsheng blushed. The two of them were once again enveloped in an awkward silence. She turned and walked away in a huff. He really doesn't know how to hold a conversation. Scene change. Late at night. Tang Tang stealthily peeked around the room. She saw Chun Mo sitting in meditation. She gently closed the door. Chun Mo's brow furrowed slightly. Outside, the wind howled. Chun Mo stepped out. He said calmly, Since you're here, you might as well show yourselves. Suddenly, a group of about 5 ninjas landed out of nowhere. One of them said, "Kid, you're pretty sharp." Tang Tang rushed out and said, "Protect the young miss. I'll deal with them." She asked them angrily, "Who sent you?" They sneered, "Let's make this quick. Take care of this little girl first, then the boy. After that, we'll get a taste of the #1 beauty of Shadu." Tang Tang brandished her hands and shouted, "In your dreams." One of the ninjas looked at Tang Tang and remarked, "Not bad. So young, yet your cultivation is quite impressive. You'll be even stronger in the future." They suddenly leaped into the air and continued, "But what a pity. You won't have a future." They attacked in unison, forcing her onto the defensive. Tang Tang slid backward. Breaking into a light sweat, she asked, "5 peak stage outer realm martial artists. Who has this kind of power? Who sent you?" The ninja raised his hand. "When you get to the underworld, you can ask the king of hell." Tang Tang shouted, "Chinamo, get the young miss and run. Take her back to the Yin family. I'll hold them off." But suddenly, Chunmo moved with incredible speed, stunning Tang Tang. He instantly appeared in front of Tang Tang, blocking the ninja's punch to her astonishment. The clash between Chunmo and the ninja created a massive shockwave. The bones in the ninja's hand shattered. He was sent flying backward by Chunmo's punch. He said in fear, "He's an advanced stage inner realm master. This is bad. Retreat." The others were terrified. "But he's just a teenager. How can he be an advanced stage inner realm master?" They went to help up the fallen man. He gave an order. Chunmo suddenly blurred into motion. He said coldly, "Since you're here," he threw a kick at them. "Don't even think about leaving." The 2 who were hit were instantly knocked unconscious. The remaining 2 were terrified. Chunmo appeared behind them in a flash. They were immediately sent flying. The leader trembled as he pushed himself up. He struggled to ask, "Who are you? Why are you meddling in the Yin family's business?" Chunmo replied coldly, "Why should I have to explain my actions to you?" He asked him, "Speak. Who sent you here?" The man collapsed without saying a word. Chunmo frowned slightly. He actually took poison to kill himself. He turned to Tang Tang and asked, "Who on earth wants to kill you too?" They weren't afraid to spend a great deal of money to hire these death warriors. She replied, "I don't know either. There are too many people who want to harm the young miss." She asked him, "What should we do with these bodies?" He walked away and answered, "Don't worry. Someone will come to clean them up." He explained, "The person behind this will definitely not let their identities be exposed." Scene change. Early in the morning. The sun was high in the sky, casting bright rays into Chunmo's yard. Tang Tang silently entered the room. Qing Sheng rubbed her eyes. "Tang Tang, why do you look so pale? Didn't you sleep well?" She quickly replied, "It's nothing. I think I just caught a cold. I'll be fine in a couple of days." In the living room, Chunmo was already waiting. He said, "I brought breakfast. You too should eat." He handed Tang Tang a pill and said, "Take this foundation pill. It would do you good." She replied softly, "Thank you." Placing the food on the table, Chunmo said, "I have to go out for a bit. Make yourselves at home." Tang Tang called out worriedly, "Wait. Please take the young miss with you." Qing Chun was confused. "Why'd I have to go with him?" Tang Tang quickly replied, Because I'm feeling a little unwell. I'm afraid I won't be able to protect you properly. It's better to let Chunmo keep you safe." Qing Chun was suspicious. "Are those words I'm hearing from you?" Tang Tang insisted. "Yes, they are. Young miss, please listen to me." Qing Chun resigned herself to it. "Fine, I'll go with him." Meanwhile, Chunmo's face darkened. He thought to himself, "I have things to do. If she comes along, she'll definitely be a lot of trouble." Scene change. In a living room. 2 cups of hot tea sat on the table. Songzi asked Chunmo, "Master, forgive my impertinence, but is this your wife?" Hearing this, Chunmo couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of water. He blushed slightly and said, "Don't talk nonsense. She's a friend of mine." Qing Chong frowned, thinking, "Just a friend?" The old man asked again, "Master, for what reason did you seek me out?" He said directly, "I was in a hurry last time and forgot to give you some instructions." Inside, he thought, like forgetting to ask your name. The old man clasped his hands respectfully. "I am ready to receive Master's teachings." Seeing this, Qing Chong was astonished. An old man bowing to a young man. Unbelievable, she thought. She said to Chunmo, "You two talk. I'm going to take a walk for a bit." Chunmo asked the old man, "What's your name?" Songzi replied, "Master, I joined a Taoist temple when I was 11. My Taoist name is Chun Songzi." Chunmo repeated, "Chun Songzi. Then that's what I'll call you from now on." He presented a manual and said, "This is a basic cultivation technique I've specially prepared for you. If you can reach the first level, guiding qi into your body, within 3 days, I might consider officially taking you on as my disciple." The old man immediately knelt and replied, "Chun Songzi thanks you, master." Chunmo released his aura and commanded, "My technique cannot be revealed. If it is, I will personally see to it that your soul is scattered to the winds." Songzi's face turned pale. "Yes, from this day on, my life belongs to you, master. If you have any commands, this disciple will certainly obey." He said, "Get up." He asked, "The jade stone from last time, I've used it all up. Do you have any more?" Songzi quickly replied, if Master needs more, you'll have to search for it at the Black Water Pool on Mount Lingwu. But there's a fierce monster at the Black Water Pool, making it extremely dangerous. The old man continued, I think Master could try searching the stone gambling dens first. You might find what you're looking for there. Chinamo thought to himself, the monster at the Black Water Pool is probably just a wild beast that has gained intelligence by absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. But with my current strength, killing it would be impossible. I'll have to wait until I reach the second level of chi condensation before I can consider it. He said in a low voice, very well. Arrange a time and a route to the stone gambling dens. The sooner, the better. Songzi clasped his hands as you command. Chinamo continued, all right, I'm leaving. Focus on your cultivation. I'll come check on your progress on Saturday. The old man suddenly asked him, Master, this disciple has one request. Speak. Songzi said, from this day forward, I wish to follow by Master's side, to serve as your attendant and devote myself to you. I hope Master will grant my wish. Hearing this, Chun Imo smirked. It's fine that you want to get closer to me, but my one-bedroom apartment is already occupied by 2 troublesome sprites. He walked away and said, we'll talk after we visit the stone gambling dens. Then, Songzi clasped his hands and bowed. Thank you, Master, for agreeing. Night falls, and a storm rages outside. Rain poured down heavily in the yard of Chunmo's house. An old man with white hair opened the gate and walked in, his eyes glowing red with a sinister smile. The man standing in the rain was Pang Shiwan. His internal energy was so powerful that the rain couldn't touch him. In his room, Chinamo was lying with his eyes closed, thinking there's no end to this. He opened the door and stepped out. Tang Tang quickly followed, saying, I'll go first. If I can't beat him, then you step in. The two went outside and were stunned. Tang Tang thought to herself, the rain doesn't wet his clothes. A peak stage inner realm master. She clasped her hands in greeting, Senior, with your cultivation, you could break through to the transformation realm at any moment. What brings you here? He replied, I could break through at any moment, and yet I cannot. In the end, it's all just dust in the wind. This old man doesn't have many years left to live. Only by entering the transformation realm can I extend my lifespan. He continued, this old man must borrow something from the young lady of the Yen family to make a trade. Tang Tang asked worriedly, I wonder what Senior wishes to borrow. If my young miss has it, she will surely offer it with both hands. Shiwan said coldly, she certainly has it, because what I want to borrow is her life. Tang Tang frowned and asked, who sent you here? He replied, the terms they offered moved me. Therefore, I can only set aside my pride and come here to make a move on a mere little girl. Tang Tang said worriedly to Chunemo, we're no match for him. You have to get the young miss and run. Chunemo finally spoke up, I'm a little curious. What kind of terms could possibly move you so much? Shiwan laughed and said, the right to enter Mount Sukong. As long as I survive coming out of Mount Sukong, I will surely become a grandmaster. Tang Tang exclaimed in shock, Mount Sukong. You'll surely become a grandmaster. Chunemo asked further, so where's Mount Sukong? Shiwan replied, I don't know. After I complete my mission, they will tell me. He said sternly, they? Who are they? He suddenly moved in a flash and said, why should I tell you? All right, time to die. His body erupted in a brilliant green flame as he leaped forward and grabbed Tang Tang by the throat. She trembled and thought, until just now, I always thought that even though there was a huge gap between me and a peak stage inner realm master, if I fought with my life on the line, I could still put up a fight. He raised his hand to strike her face. Tang Tang could only resign herself to her fate. But in reality, I don't even have the strength to fight back. She closed her eyes tightly. Young miss, I'm sorry. Suddenly, Shiwan disappeared. Tang Tang opened her eyes. He had been knocked far away. He said, I didn't expect you to be able to stop me. You've hidden your skills well. Chunemo emitted an aura so powerful that the rain could no longer touch him. He calmly replied, tell me who they are, and I'll let you live. Shiwan burst out laughing. He said, kid, since I made my debut, no one has ever dared to speak to me like this. You're the first. But then he released his power and growled, and you'll be the last. Shiwan fiercely lunged at him. Chunemo calmly lowered his stance, his hands swinging back to form a fist. The moment their fists collided, a loud explosion rang out, and the surrounding space shook with a brilliant flash. Chunemo stood firm and retracted his hand. Shiwan, on the other hand, was not fine at all. He stumbled back several steps, horrified and off balance. His vision darkened, and he exclaimed in disbelief, peak inner realm? Impossible. Even if you started cultivating in your mother's womb, it's not possible. Then he suddenly laughed sinisterly. However, if I defeat you and uncover the secrets you hold, then this old man can also become a grandmaster. Facing him, Chunemo replied indifferently, I'm afraid you don't have what it takes, old man. Shiwan's hands moved in a fluid, skillful dance, and a powerful, colorful energy radiated around him. Cloud pushing, countless palms appeared around him as he growled. Palm lifting, Seeing this technique, Tang Tang screamed in terror, the cloud pushing hand. He's Pang Shuan, the famous cloud pushing hand master from the Northwest 10 years ago. Chun Mo remained unfazed as he watched the countless palms rushing towards him. As the attack arrived, he threw a single punch. Just like that, the entire legendary cloud pushing hand technique was easily neutralized by him. Shiwan was stunned. You actually blocked my cloud pushing hand? How did you do that? Chun Mo's lips curled into a smirk. Test complete, he thought. He assessed Shiwan. Looking at the amount of spiritual energy alone, my first level chi condensation cultivation is at most equivalent to an initial stage inner realm martial artist. But in terms of quality, my spiritual power is on par with a peak inner realm martial artist. He chuckled, then softly uttered 2 words, it's over. Chun Mo brought his hands together in front of his chest. Amidst the swirling energy, his voice was clear and distinct, profound heaven divine fist, first form. His eyes widened as he growled, mountains sundering. A massive axe appeared in Chun Mo's hand as he leaped high into the air. Shiwan was clearly terrified out of his wits. What is this power? What martial skill is this? I've never seen it before. Despite his fear, he braced himself and shouted, I'll risk it all against you. Then he gritted his teeth and charged forward. The world suddenly went silent. Shiwan's cry was cut short as his face was split in 2. His eyes rolled back in his head, and he died without a chance to say another word. Chun Mo showed no mercy, swinging straight down, splattering blood all over himself. Tang Tang's face went pale with fear, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Even Chun Mo himself seemed a bit surprised. He thought to himself, it's still a bit difficult to use the profound heaven divine fist with my first level chi condensation cultivation. I couldn't control the power well. I didn't mean to kill him. I still had questions to ask. Scene change, the Liu family estate, one of the 6 great super families. Meng Yao frowned in annoyance. Uncle Wu, are you saying that bitch from the Yin family has a transformation realm grandmaster by her side? Liu Meng Yao, the granddaughter of the current Liu family head. Uncle Wu's face was troubled as he slowly explained. 10 years ago, Pang Shuan was already at the peak inner realm. To be able to kill him in a single move, it could only be a grandmaster. Meng Yao gritted her teeth in anger. I thought that bitch was walking in her own death by sneaking away from the Yin family. I never expected she'd have a grandmaster protecting her. Does this mean it's almost impossible to kill her now? Uncle Wu replied awkwardly. Because we simply can't hire a grandmaster. He clasped his hands, calculating to kill Yin Qingsheng. We either have to bribe the mysterious grandmaster by her side, or we arrange for an assassination when he's not with her. Meng Yao slammed her hand on the table. She said decisively, Uncle Wu, you must help me. I cannot let Yin Qingsheng return to Xiadu alive. Scene change. Xiadu, the Nangong family. The grandson of the Nangong family head, Nangong Yunlu, rushed in anxiously. Grandfather, the people you sent have all failed. They were too weak. The Nangong family head, Nangong Wang, frowned at the news. There must be a powerful expert protecting Yin Qingsheng. Otherwise, why would the Yin family let her run around on her own? Yunlu was still unwilling to give up. He said with a dark expression, if outer realm experts won't work, then find inner realm experts. If inner realm experts won't work, then find a grandmaster. Nangong Wang scolded him sternly. Nonsense. Do you think they're so easy to hire? Martial artists have their pride. Being scolded, Yunlu resorted to throwing a tantrum. He rushed over, hugged his grandfather, and whined, Grandfather, I don't care. I must have Yin Qingsheng. If not, I'll run away from home. Nangong Wang could only pat his head to comfort him. Although he said nothing, his mind was clearly still scheming. I hope for the same. If he can have Yin Qingsheng, the status of our Nangong family can be secured. Scene change, the Yin family. Ma Chuan entered the living room and said seriously, Father, people in Xiadu have already started making moves against Qingsheng. We should bring her back. Yin Qingsheng's grandfather, Yin Anzhong, replied with a gentle smile, it's fine. All of those people were killed by a mysterious grandmaster. Qingsheng is perfectly safe. At that moment, Ma Chuan began to understand. He said, there's a martial arts grandmaster with Chun Mo? Yin Qingsheng's father, Yin Ma Chuan. Anzhong stroked his beard and said slowly, who else but a martial arts grandmaster could train a teenager to become an inner realm martial artist? It seems Chun Mo's potential is far greater than I anticipated. Let Qingsheng continue to build a relationship with him. Scene change. Saitong's largest stone gambling den, treasure pavilion. Chun Mo led the way inside. Qingsheng asked, confused, why do we have to follow Chun Mo? Can't we just look around ourselves? Tang Tang replied softly, young miss, just listen to me. Songzi followed behind, fawning, master, I've sold my house and all my belongings. From now on, I will stay by your side and serve you devotedly. Chun Mo teased him lightly. All right, you're certainly very determined. He looked at him with praise. Not bad. You successfully guided Qi into your body within 3 days. Songzi pointed to himself and replied politely. Yes, I succeeded on Monday night. I finally managed to not disappoint your teachings, master. This form of address made Chun Mo a bit uncomfortable. He instructed, right? From now on, in public, just call me young master. Songzi obediently replied. Young master. He walked alongside, introducing the place. Young master, this treasure pavilion is the largest stone gambling den in the entire district. The people who come to gamble are all wealthy tycoons. Chun Mo's eyes swept across the room, taking everything in. He thought to himself, this place is actually quite impressive. Qian excitedly ran into the hall. The stone gambling convention is about to start. Kiyue, on the other hand, was a bit shy. This is a hobby for tycoons. We can't afford this. Lin Tao smiled courteously. It's no problem. Looking is free. We could just browse around. Who knows, you might even meet some of my Lin family members today. Sure enough, her eyes lit up when she heard that. You mean the Lin family? The greatest family in the world? Lin Tao, basking in the glory, proudly replied, naturally. Suddenly, someone pointed to a corner and said, Hey, look over there. Isn't that Shin Mo? What's he doing here? Lin Tao glanced over with contempt. This kid must be here to try his luck at the stone gambling den. But this isn't a game for a country bumpkin like him. Kiyue frowned, wondering to herself, what is Chun Mo doing at a stone gambling den? Yin had spotted him too. She quickly ran over, calling out loudly, Chun Mo. Hearing the familiar voice, he turned to look at Yin'er. She blushed and explained, Kiyue, and I didn't have anything to do, so Qian dragged us here to see what was going on. Are you also here to check out the excitement? Chun Mo smiled and replied, Not really. I want to buy a couple of stones. For my dad for the new year. Lin Tao, standing at a distance, shouted across, It's you. He sneered, You want to buy stones? You got the money for that? Yin'er, annoyed, frowned, and reminded Lin Tao, Can you be a bit more polite? He paid her no mind and argued, What I said is the truth. Qing Chung, who had been listening from the side, elegantly lifted her hand, took off her glasses, and said, Chun Mo, are these your classmates? They seem a little overly enthusiastic. Hearing her speak, the men in the hall finally noticed her. Every single one of them blushed, thinking, What a beauty, an absolute goddess. Qian's group couldn't help but be astonished when they saw her. She's so beautiful. Yin'er was stunned, but a doubt formed in her mind. How does Chun Mo know such a beautiful woman? Chun Mo was speechless. This Yin Qing's personality was definitely the type that loves to stir up trouble just for the fun of it. Yin'er was the first to break the silence. Who are you? Qing smirked. Hi. She bounded over, linked her arm with Chun Mo's, and replied with a radiant smile. I'm his future fiancé. Hasn't he ever mentioned me to you guys? The men in the hall collectively widened their eyes. What? Future fiancé? This time, Yin'er and Kiyue's group was also stunned. Yin'er, trembling, pointed at the culprit and asked Chun Mo, Is she really your future fiancé? Chun Mo replied flatly. The engagement was called off. Hearing that, the color returned to Yin'er's face. The engagement was called off? Unexpectedly, Qing's smile became even more captivating. Who said the engagement was called off? Nobody gets to decide on my Yin Qing's engagement except me. That single sentence was enough to make the hall erupt. Lin Tao couldn't help but shout, Yin Qingchun, you're the number one beauty of Xiadu. Yin Qingchun? He made a grimace, pointed at Chun Mo, and said, A country bumpkin dares to touch the number one beauty of Xiadu? Chun Mo, I'll be watching to see how you die. Qingchun half closed her eyes, casually dropping another bombshell. What's there to not dare? Chun Mo and I are already living together. The entire hall fell dead silent. Everyone's jaw dropped, but no one could utter a word. Tang Tang was also stunned, covering her mouth and thinking, how could the young miss say something like that? Chun Mo, on the other hand, was suffering in silence. He bit his lip, fuming internally. Yin Qingchun definitely doesn't like me. She's only saying this to cause trouble. This time, Yin'er didn't forget to confirm with him again. Chun Mo, is what she's saying true? Qingchun, still clinging to Chun Mo's arm, answered first, Do I need to lie to you? Chun Mo couldn't take it anymore and finally spoke up. Don't listen to her nonsense. She's just temporarily renting a room at my place. He turned to Qingchun, his face stern, and warned her, If you keep causing trouble, don't blame me for sending you back to Shidu. She retorted in a high voice, You dare? Losing interest, Chun Mo turned to walk away. Well then, you all carry on. I'll be leaving for a bit. Songzi ran after him and asked worriedly, Young master, those 3 teenagers just insulted you. Do they need to be taught a lesson? Without looking back, Chun Mo replied, No need. Songzi immediately praised, Young master is magnanimous. As the two were walking, they suddenly heard someone call out loudly, Mr. Chun? Wen Xiong approached with a smile, clasping his hands. I didn't expect to meet you here, Mr. Chun. What an honor. Chun Mo replied politely, What a coincidence. He was smiling on the outside, but inwardly he was scheming. This Chun Mo actually cured Elder Jin's illness. He's definitely someone to be taken seriously. I've offended him before. I must seize this opportunity to mend our relationship. Wen Xiong rubbed his hands, forcing a smile to start a conversation. Could it be that Mr. Chen also has an interest in stone gambling? Why don't I help you pick some out? I must thank you properly. Only then did Chun Mo look pleased. He replied, well then, it would be rude to refuse. He thought to himself, who wouldn't take free money? Welcome everyone to the Treasure Pavilion Stone Gambling Convention. The convention will now begin. Wen Xiong gestured with his hand. Mr. Chun, the convention is starting. Let's go over there. In the other corner, Qs saw him and was confused. Isn't that Chu Wen Xiong? She looked a bit intimidated. He's here for the convention too? Yenner gently reassured her, don't be afraid. With Chen Mo here, he wouldn't dare do anything. Scene change. Inside the hall, all the guest seats were filled. Gu Zian's eyes crinkled as he smiled. He began to explain the auction rules. The stone gambling convention begins now. Each bid must increase by at least 10,000. The owner of Treasure Pavilion, Gu Zian. Wen Xiong led Chun Mo to the VIP section, where they could easily see the entire auction. Qing Cheng and the other girls stood below, watching. Wen Xiong, trying to make conversation, said, the owner of this Treasure Pavilion, in terms of strength, is a bit stronger than me. In all of Jianya, he probably ranks in the top 10. On the auction floor, two muscular men carried out a large stone. One raw stone. Starting price, 500,000. Without even a close look, Fong Budong raised his hand and bid 550,000. The richest man in Qingyang, Fong Budong. Lin Tianyai scoffed and called out 600,000. The head of the number one family in Linzhou, Lin Tianyai. Chun Mo, who had been silent, finally spoke up. Is this Lin family very rich? Wen Xiong was a bit surprised, but answered quickly. In terms of economic assets, everyone's about the same. But the Lin family has a mysterious background that makes everyone wary of them. Next to Tianyai, Wu Bo was sitting with his eyes closed, meditating. Chen Mo's eyes scanned him. He thought to himself, initial stage in a realm. This formidable figure must be the Lin family's hidden strength. The auction continued heatedly. Suddenly, Su Donghan, with his arms crossed, said loudly, that stone is all for show. There's nothing inside. The wealthiest man of Ru He, Su Donghan. Seeing him, Wen Xiong frowned and said, this Su Donghan is a local powerhouse. He's very strong. He's a rival to both Treasure Pavilion and me. Chun Mo remained silent. He looked at Yongshan sitting next to Donghan and speculated. I'm afraid he's a cultivator from the Incorp sect. On the stage, Gu Zian angrily shouted, Boss Su, you speak as if you have X-ray vision. If you're here to disrupt this auction, my Treasure Pavilion does not welcome you. In response, Donghan just smirked. If you don't believe me, that's fine. We'll know when the stone is cut open. Tianyai crossed his arms and said provocatively, is Boss Su implying that the Lin family has no foresight? It's only 600,000. It's just pocket change to buy for fun. Lin Tao, standing with Qian Qian's group, heard this and grinned widely. See that? People from my Lin family are real ballers. Apparently, his voice was very loud. Tianyai and Wu Bo heard him and glanced over, seeing Lin Tao acting like he was part of the Lin family. But the Lin family clearly didn't consider him one of them. The real Lin family members were sitting inside, while he was standing outside. That was the clearest proof. When Xiong turned to ask, Mr. Chun, what do you think of this raw stone? Chun Mo answered without hesitation, nothing special. Hearing this, when Xiong decided, then let's leave it for the Lin family. Tianyai crossed his legs and waved his hand. Boss Gu, if no one else is bidding, then cut it open. Gu Zian swallowed his anger. If it weren't for Su Donghan's interference, how could this raw stone have only sold for 600,000? Damn it. The raw stone was split open, revealing nothing inside. People started murmuring, just as he said, not a speck of green. What's green? It means gemstone. Tianyai's face darkened, and he gritted his teeth. There's really nothing inside. Donghan raised an eyebrow cheerfully. You should listen to your elders, or you'll suffer the consequences. Gu Zian brought out the second auction item. The second raw stone, starting price, 1 million. Donghan, with the same arrogant demeanor, held up 2 fingers. Inside this stone is a turquoise gemstone of decent purity, but it's worth 2 million at most. I'll bid 2 million. The other guests heard this and whispered among themselves, should we bid? Let's not. We'll just watch for now. Tianyai was clearly provoked. He roared, I don't believe this crap. I bid 2,010,000. Donghan, not one to argue, cheerfully replied, okay, it's yours. Gu Zian stood on the stage and gave the order. The raw stone was cut, revealing the gemstone inside. There really is something, and the market price is indeed around 2 million. Tianyai finally dropped his arrogant act. He began to eye Boss Su suspiciously. It seems you brought an expert with you this time. Donghan remained nonchalant, his arms crossed. He replied smugly, not at all, not at all. I'm just lucky. Wen Xiong said warily. Su Donghan came prepared. Gu Zian, trembling with suppressed anger, introduced the 5th raw stone. Starting price. Before he could finish, Donghan cut in, inside is a piece of jadeite. 800,000 is the highest it'll go. I'll bid 800,000. Gu Ziyan's eyes rolled back in his head. He gritted his teeth and cursed internally. Damn it. If murder wasn't illegal, I'd kill him myself. Just then, Chinemo suddenly called out 1 million. Everyone in the hall gasped in shock, their mouths wide open. Lin Tao couldn't believe it either. Did I hear that right? That loser Chinemo is bidding 1 million? Where'd he get that much money? Yenner frowned unhappily and reminded him. Chinemo said he wanted to buy 2 stones, so he must have the money for them. But Lin Tao was still not convinced. He pushed his way to the front. He's a fraud. I have to expose him. Meanwhile, when Xiong looked at Chun Mo curiously and asked, Mr. Chun, are you interested in this raw stone? He answered decisively, I must have it. Su Donghan, sitting nearby, frowned when he heard that. Then, he gestured with a friendly smile. Kid, inside this raw stone is just ordinary jadeite, not worth 1 million. Even if you have money, you shouldn't waste it like this. Why don't you give me some face and back down? Chen Mo closed his eyes and didn't answer. The people around them started whispering again, what's this kid's background? He's not giving Su Donghan any face at all. Wen Xiong, riding on Chen Mo's coattails, shouted loudly, you damn Su. If you want to buy it, raise the price. If not, then get lost. Stop wasting time. Su Donghan's face darkened, but he couldn't vent his anger. He could only grit his teeth and say, out of respect for you, Chu Wen Xiong, I'll let him have it. Yongshan leaned in and whispered something in his ear. Only then did his expression soften. Gu Ziyan on the stage beamed, his eyes crinkling, and began to close the bid. 1 million going once, 1 million going twice, 1 million. Just then, Su Donghan frantically shouted, wait, I can't let this one go. I bid 1.5 million. Without even looking, Chen Mo said, 2 million. Su Donghan shot up angrily and roared, kid, are you really trying to go against me? Wen Xiong also stood up and retorted, you damn Su, who are you threatening? I'm the one going against you. I bid 3 million. Driven mad by him, Su Donghan refused to back down. You old dog Chu, you think I'm afraid of you? For 1 million. Everyone watching was stunned, unable to believe it. A piece of jadeite worth 4 million? Someone ventured to guess. Maybe it's not jadeite at all, but a high-grade gemstone. Chen Mo calmly raised his hand. 5 million. Gu Ziyan's face was flushed with excitement. The price was soaring. He rubbed his hands and muttered to himself, 5 million. Su Donghan hissed through gritted teeth. He trembled with anger. Young brother, you sure are rich. Gu Ziyan excitedly spread his arms and asked, 5 million. Anyone going higher? Just then, Tianyai suddenly shouted, wait. Tianyai spoke with contempt. Look at him. He's just a poor student. How could he have that much money? Hearing that, Gu Ziyan also grew a bit hesitant and scratched his face. Young brother, they suspect you don't have the funds. This is... Before Chimo could reply, when Xiong stepped forward, old Gu, he's a guest of mine, Chu and Xiong. Would I ever short you? He pulled out a shiny card and handed it to a nearby staff member. There are 10 million in this card. The password is 6 zeros. The guests in the hall were all shocked. 10 million. And he even announced the password. That's incredibly bold. Although Songzi was a bit surprised, he rationalized it to himself. Perhaps in the young master's eyes, worldly wealth is beneath his notice. Gu Ziyan said cheerfully, I will just verify the young brother's financial standing. Tianyai frowned. Are you sure he doesn't have the money? Lin Tao was still adamant. Young master, don't worry. I was his classmate for 3 years. I know exactly what he's made of. Gu Ziyan grinned widely as he announced, I've checked. The card indeed has 10 million. Tianyai angrily stood up and pushed Lin Tao down. You bastard. How dare you mess with me? Lin Tao couldn't believe it either. How is that possible? The girls were just as surprised. Qian asked curiously, how did Chinmo suddenly get so much money? Yenner, on the other hand, enjoyed seeing someone else's misfortune. Lin Tao is always looking down on others. He deserves it. Kiyue, however, seemed thoughtful. Why do I get the feeling that Chen Mo is hiding a lot of secrets? Qing Cheng raised an eyebrow. Already scheming, I didn't expect this Chen Mo kid to have so much money. When we get back, I'll definitely have to make him get a bigger apartment. Gu Ziyan asked with a smile, young brother, do you want this raw stone cut open on the spot? Chen Mo nodded. The sound of stone cracking echoed. The crowd buzzed with anticipation. Green skin. It's showing green. The moment the crystal was revealed, someone with a sharp eye recognized it and shouted, this is a red crystal. And inside, there's a cat's-eye-sized red diamond. Congratulations, young brother. The hall practically exploded. What? A red diamond? That big? It must be worth over 200 million, right? This kid is way too lucky. Wen Xiong sidled up, smiling fawningly. Congratulations, Mr. Chun. Next, could I ask for your help in choosing a stone for me? Chun Mo rested his chin on his hand, bored. It's just a gemstone containing some fire attribute origin energy, that's all he thought. Gu Ziyan said sharply, everyone, I'm afraid someone has been deliberately downplaying the value of these stones to gain your trust, only to then try and buy the valuable ones at a low price. People started to gather and criticize Su Donghan. Boss Su, you have a black heart. We were all tricked by that Su guy. Boss Su, that's just immoral. Tianyai also gritted his teeth in hatred and warned, Boss Su, my Lin family will remember this debt. Gu Zian respectfully brought the item over himself. Mr. Chun, thank you for exposing Su Donghan's true colors. After the convention is over, I have a gift for you as thanks. He replied politely, then thank you, Boss Gu. When Xiong teased from the side, Old Gu, don't be stingy with your thank you gift. Gu Zian replied unhappily, don't worry, Fatty Gu, am not that kind of cheapskate. Chen Mo casually tossed the crystal to Songzi, who was standing behind him. Hold this for me. The old man fumbled to catch it, and said, as you command. The onlookers were endlessly shocked. That's a priceless blood-red diamond, and he just trusts someone else to hold it for him? Yenna thought to herself, now that's a real man. Qing Chung, however, rubbed her chin, scheming, if that diamond were made into a ring, wouldn't it be beautiful? Gu Zian returned to the stage and announced, all right, next, please bring out the 6th raw stone. After that, no one believed Su Donghan anymore. Chu Wenxiong repeatedly consulted Chun Mo and spent a large sum of money. Gu Zian, beaming with joy, announced, next up is the 17th raw stone. Without even looking, Chen Mo raised his hand and bid 500,000. Someone in the hall exclaimed, that kid made a bid. Another, still holding out hope, said, let's bid 2. It might be a top-grade jade stone. It had been a long time since Gu Zian smiled so much. He couldn't hide his grin, even with both hands. The price of the stone kept climbing. 6 million, 7 million, 10 million, 11 million. Su Donghan shot up and yelled, 30 million. When a stone was cut open, the crowd buzzed again. It does have green inside, but the price definitely won't exceed 10 million. Su Donghan took a massive loss. Su Donghan was trembling with rage, unable to speak. Chen Mo rested his chin on his hand and let out a sigh, thinking to himself, that was a wood spirit jade. It's not a matter of money. After all the raw stones were auctioned, Gu Zian announced with satisfaction, the stone gambling convention has come to a successful conclusion. Thank you all for coming. Just as Chen Mo was about to leave, he ran over and invited him, Mr. Chun, please come backstage. Hearing that, Wen Xiong guessed, Old Gu, are you going to take Mr. Chun to the treasure pavilion's warehouse? Gu Zian raised an eyebrow and replied, of course. I said I had to thank Mr. Chun. Inside the treasure pavilion's warehouse, countless valuable raw stones were displayed on shelves. Wen Xiong couldn't help but exclaim, oh my god, so this is it. Gu Zian looked at Chun Mo happily. Mr. Chun, to show my gratitude, you may choose any 3 raw stones here on the house. He replied politely, Boss Gu, this gift is a bit too generous. Wen Xiong couldn't believe it either. Old Gu, are you really letting Mr. Chun choose freely? He might pick the 3 most expensive ones. Gu Zian genuinely didn't mind and waved his hand. Mr. Chun, pick whatever you like. I won't go back on my word. Chen Mo lowered his gaze slightly. Boss Gu, just say it. What do you need my help with? Gu Zian gave a strained laugh. Mr. Chun, you've already figured it out. Then I won't beat around the bush. He clasped his hands and explained, in a few days, I have a transaction with some friends. I'd like to bring Mr. Chun along for guidance. Unexpectedly, Chun Mo was very easygoing this time. Since Boss Gu is so generous, I'll have to agree. Gu Zian nodded profusely. Thank you, Mr. Chun. Chun Mo walked around the warehouse, making his selection. Qing Chung thought curiously, with so many raw stones, can this guy really pick out the most valuable ones? Gu Zian was also watching intently. Actually, I'm even more curious about which stones he'll choose. After looking around, Chen Mo made his decision. I'll take these 3. Please cut them open, Boss Gu. Gu Zian cut open the 3 stones and placed them on the table. He was secretly celebrating. Although all 3 stones had gems inside, their value isn't high. Chen Mo made a mistake this time. Despite this thought, he still smiled and praised him outwardly. Haha, Mr. Chun truly has a discerning eye. None of these 3 stones were empty. All of them had green. Wen Xiong also chimed in to flatter him. Mr. Chun is truly kind, going easy on Old Gu. Chen Mo said with satisfaction, take them. Let's go. Songzi immediately complied. After gathering everything, they all headed out. Unexpectedly, they were blocked as soon as they stepped out the door. Su Donghan stood with his hands in his pockets, speaking arrogantly, you can go, but leave the blood-red diamond behind. Wen Xiong's face hardened as he shouted, you crazy dog Su. You dare to rob someone in broad daylight? Let me tell you, this is Saitang, not Ruhi. Gu Zian's smile vanished. He frowned and warned, Boss Su, doing this is breaking the rules. Su Donghan's face darkened as he replied, it's not that I want to break the rules, but this kid doesn't know what's good for him and has troubled Grandmaster Wang. Wen Xiong looked puzzled. Who is Grandmaster Wang? A figure quietly stepped out from the crowd. Yongshan stood with his hands behind his back and spoke coldly. In Jinya District, besides myself, who else dares to be called Wang? Wen Xiong recognized the face and exclaimed in horror, Ghost Red Wang, Wang Yongshan. Yongshan spoke sanctimoniously, "Kid, hand over the blood-red diamond. It's not something a mortal can possess." Seeing this, when Xiong hesitated, Gu Zian was also sweating bullets. He stepped closer and advised, "Mr. Chun, you should hand over the red diamond. Grandmaster Wang's power is beyond our imagination." Chun Mo lowered his gaze, asking with feigned surprise, "Is this Grandmaster Wang really that powerful?" Seeing him like this, Gu Zian had no choice but to explain. Grandmaster Wang opened a spirit hall where he can catch ghosts and exorcise demons. He can communicate between the worlds of the living and the dead, and even control wandering souls to possess people. His powers are incredibly effective, which is why people gave him the nickname Ghost Red. Chun Mo confirmed vaguely, "Is that so?" He said coldly, "How about this? If you want the red diamond, you can trade your life for it." Yongshan was clearly provoked by him. His eyes flashed, and his body began to emit a strange light. "Kid, if you're looking for death, this old man will grant your wish." With that, he took out a small jar sealed with a talisman from his sleeve. A ghost he had summoned emerged from the jar. Chun Mo remained still, not making a move. Yongshan's face was extremely ferocious as he growled his command to the ghost, "Go, devour his soul." The ghost obeyed and shot straight towards Chun Mo. When Xiong and Gu Zian's group scrambled to flee. A ghost. There are really ghosts. Qing Chung was also terrified, covering her mouth. Seeing a ghost in broad daylight, Tang Tang quickly stood in front of her, reminding her, "Young miss, be careful." Songzi similarly rushed to stand in front of Chun Mo. "I'll fight you." But he must have forgotten that the thing rushing towards them was a ghost. It passed right through his body with ease. By the time he realized it, it was too late. He whipped around and shouted, "Young master, be careful." The ghost tore through the air towards Chun Mo, who still hadn't moved a muscle. The moment it was just a few feet away, he raised his hand and summoned lightning. "A lowly spirit dares to be so insolent?" Chun Mo pointed his finger and shouted, "Lightning, come." The ghost was struck and vanished without a trace. Yongshan felt his knees in terror and begged, "I didn't know a heavenly master was present. I have offended you, heavenly master. Please spare my life." Chun Mo's voice was steely. "You raise ghosts to cause harm, endangering countless innocent lives. How could I possibly spare you?" As soon as he finished speaking, another bolt of lightning struck down, hitting him directly. Yongshan's eyes rolled back, and his body went limp as he fell backward. Donghan jumped back in shock, unable to believe what he was seeing. This teenager can actually summon lightning, annihilate a ghost, and kill Grandmaster Wang so easily. He dropped to the ground and kowtowed repeatedly. "Grandmaster, I was threatened by Wang Yongshan. Please spare my life." Gu Zian, who had run away, had returned at some point. He couldn't stop marveling. "Mr. Chun, you are the real Grandmaster." When Xiong's eyes shone brightly as he said with a wide grin, "Grandmaster Chun, you are a heavenly master descended to earth." Chun Mo said honestly, "I'm not a heavenly master. I'm just a cultivator who knows a few Taoist techniques." Although he said that, when Xiong and the others continued to praise him insistently, he clasped his hands respectfully and said, "In our eyes, Grandmaster Chun is a true immortal." Gu Zian also clasped his hands and bowed. "In the future, we hope Grandmaster Chun will look after us." Qing Qing was also stunned. How is he so powerful? Is he even human? Tang Tang, beside her, speculated, could it be that the martial arts technique Chun Mo cultivates is related to lightning? Chun Mo looked at Donghan kneeling before him and spoke coldly, "Since this is your first offense, I'll spare your life. Transfer 50 million into my account by tomorrow morning and never set foot in Saitang again." He growled a warning, "Otherwise, I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth to take your life." Donghan replied with a trembling voice, "I will follow all your instructions." Suddenly, the sound of crisp applause rang out. "Wonderful, truly wonderful." Tianyai walked over with a smile. "I didn't expect to witness Taoist techniques today. It's truly been an eye-opener." He tilted his chin up contemptuously. "I told you that loser Su Donghan couldn't stop them." Wubo nodded in agreement. "Young master is wise." When Xiong sensed something odd about their attitude and asked, "What are you trying to do?" In response, Tianyai raised an eyebrow. "Don't get excited. I have no intention of offending a grandmaster." He looked towards Qing Chung and extended an invitation. "I just want to invite this stunning beauty for a drink. I wonder if the lady would do me the honor?" Qing Chung frowned. Tang Tang stepped in front of her and shouted angrily. Tianyai, oblivious, was still rubbing his chin. "If it's with both of you little beauties, that would be even better." Chun Mo looked at Tang Tang and instructed, "Let me see how much your strength has improved." She immediately replied. She clenched her fists and warned in a stern voice, "If you want to touch my young miss, you'll have to get through me first." Tianyai scoffed and ordered, "Wu Bo, don't hurt her. I have a soft spot for beautiful women." Wu Bo's face turned grim. "Young master, rest assured, this old man knows what to do." Tang Tang rushed forward, throwing a flurry of punches at him, but he simply stood his ground, easily blocking them with his hands. Not bad. The strength of an initial stage Inner Realm Master. Suddenly, A glint appeared in his eyes. He raised his palm and struck Tang Tang squarely in the chest. She took the hit and groaned, clutching her chest. Wu Bo waved his hand and said, "If it weren't for the young master's soft spot for beautiful women, that one blow would have taken your life." A dark aura enveloped Chun Mo. Without looking at Tang Tang, he remarked, "It seems you're still too weak." She accepted it with a frown. "My strength is lacking. I'll be counting on you next." Hearing their conversation, Tianyai became wary. "If you dare to interfere, you'll become an enemy of my Lin family." Chun Mo's eyes narrowed. "In my eyes, your Lin family is nothing but an ant." As expected, this remark enraged Tianyai. He pointed furiously and ordered, "How dare you insult my Lin family?" He ordered Wu Bo charged forward maniacally, his hands transforming into sharp claws. Keet. Chun Mo gently raised his hand, and a swirling energy gathered around him. His voice echoed coldly, "I'll kill you." He clenched his fist and punched straight at Wu Bo, as if swatting a fly. He let out a blood-curdling scream, his eyes bulging as he fell backward. Tianyai witnessed this scene and exclaimed in horror, "Wu Bo is an advanced-stage inner-realm martial artist. How could he not withstand a single blow like that?" It wasn't over yet. Chun Mo retracted his hand, turned his head to look at him, and said, "You're next." Although Tianyai felt like he was about to piss his pants, he still tried to act tough. "What do you want to do? If you dare to touch me, the Lin family will absolutely not let you off." Chun Mo looked at him unhappily and said, "Today, I will break both of your legs as punishment." Tianyai's eyes widened in horror. He quickly dropped to his knees and begged, "Big brother, I was blind and didn't recognize your greatness. Please spare me. My Lin family will definitely reward you handsomely." Chun Mo looked at him with utter disgust and uttered, "Too late." Chun Mo showed no mercy and stomped hard on Tianyai's knees. The sound of bones cracking echoed, sending a chill down everyone's spine. He opened his mouth and screamed in agony. He collapsed on the ground, his body trembling violently. But he still couldn't let go of his arrogant pride. Humiliated like this, he gritted his teeth and warned, "My Lin family will not let you go." Gu Zian's eyebrows were practically tied in a knot. He sighed to himself, "This person is not to be trifled with." Wen Xiong was also terrified. He grimaced and made a silent decision. "We must absolutely appease him at all costs." Scene change. Night hangs in the sky. A hand reaches out and turns a doorknob. A room has been arranged for Mr. Chun. Yin, Qing Sheng, Tang Tang. Chun Mo entered the room and let out a sigh of relief. "Finally, I can have some peace and quiet." He laid out all the stones he had won at the auction on the table. He looked at them and calculated, "With these precious jades, I can break through to the second level of qi condensation." Unfortunately, Qingqing was unaware of his intentions. She was lying in bed, plotting, "I wonder what excuse I can use to trick that red diamond away from him." She thought excitedly to herself, "If I make it into a ring, it will surely be beautiful." Scene change. Late at night, the sky is full of stars. Chun Mo's eyes snapped open. He sat cross-legged, forming hand seals. A brilliant golden aura enveloped him. "I've reached the second level of qi condensation." He frowned and thought, "The cultivation resources available now are too scarce. I'll have to give up on the 9 revolutions golden body from my past life. I'll cultivate the soul origin imperishable body from the soul origin sect as my body tempering technique for now." Scene change. A table is laden with delicious food. "Eat this." With ulterior motives, Qingqing took great care of Chun Mo during the meal. "Try this dish. Don't be polite." Tang Tang made it all. "It's hot, so don't burn yourself." Tang Tang squinted suspiciously. Songzi, being past the age of youthful romance, tried to ignore it and focused on his meal. Qing Chang smiled brightly and said, "Chun Mo, can I borrow that red diamond of yours to take a look?" Chun Mo replied very calmly, "Eat your food." Scene change. The #1 family in Linzhou, the Lin family. Tianyai sat in a wheelchair, shouting incessantly, "Father, Wu Bo is dead. My legs are broken. I'll make that bastard wish he were dead." The head of the Lin family, Lin Cun, sat with his eyes closed in meditation. His expression was so calm that no one could tell what he was thinking. The subordinates spoke urgently, "Family head, if we don't avenge this, our Lin family will have no face left." "That's right, family head. We must annihilate his entire family." Lin Cun's eyes suddenly opened. He ordered, "Lin Rufeng, you take some men and deal with Chu and Xiong. From now on, the Siding Underworld will bear the Lin name." Rufeng stepped forward, bowing respectfully as he replied. 3 days later, everyone had gathered in the meeting room. Chu Wenxiong, looking gaunt from sleepless nights, lowered his head and spoke in a low voice. "For the past few days, the Lin family has been relentlessly taking over my territory. Tonight, they're sending an inner realm master to kill me." Head instructor of the Southern Red Sect martial arts, Zhong Changhua. He glanced over and spoke with contempt. "Boss Chu, you shouldn't have hired an immature kid as your backup." Wenxiong forced a smile and replied, "Master Zhong, Don't be fooled by Grandmaster Chen's youth. He commands the lightning arts and possesses profound strength. Zhong Weihua didn't even bother to look. He sneered, lightning arts my ass. It's all just deceptive parlor tricks. Chun Mo remained silent. Songzi, however, was fuming. Qing Qing saw through his boring act and thought, Zhong Chenghua is just using Chun Mo to make himself look tough. Tang Tang's face darkened. Just wait until Chun Mo shows his true strength. Let's see what kind of face Zhong Chenghua makes then. The clock struck 9. Lin Rufeng suddenly pushed the door open and entered. Boss Wenxiong, so you found yourself some backup. Does this mean you're rejecting my terms? The Lin family's Lin Rufeng. Wenxiong frowned, displeased. Lin Rufeng, don't push people too far. I've already given up a third of my territory. Rufeng retorted sharply, Boss Wenxiong, the one who broke young Master Lin's legs was your guest. Who else should we look for but you? He glanced at Chun Mo, unable to hide his irritation. Always causing trouble for me. Right then, Zhong Weihua stepped forward to back him up, making Wenxiong visibly delighted. Let me see what you're made of. Rufeng asked calmly, Inner Realm Master, are you sure you want to become an enemy of the Lin family? Zhong Weihua replied without hesitation, as if the Lin family is worthy of being my enemy. The words had barely left his mouth when Rufeng charged at him. Fine, then I'll deal with you first, and then take that dog, Chu Wenxiong's life. Rufeng launched a kick at him. He managed to block it with his hands and counter with a kick of his own. Young master, Songzi couldn't help but exclaim as he watched the duel. These two are evenly matched. Who will win? Chen Mo replied nonchalantly, what do you think? The old man said doubtfully, Zhong Weihua. Chen Mo spoke up wrong. Zhong Weihua has only just entered the inner realm, and his foundation is unstable. On top of that, he's far too arrogant. He'll definitely lose in less than 10 moves. Back in the fight, Rufeng threw a powerful punch. Weihua used all his strength to block it. The impact sent him staggering back, blood spurting from his mouth. Rufeng looked down on him with contempt. I was going easy on you. Boss Chu, Weihua said, suppressing his pain, my skills were inferior. He looked astonished. Even Zhong Weihua was defeated? Chun Mo slowly stepped forward and said, actually, I'm the one who broke Lin Tanyai's legs. Hearing this, Rufeng couldn't help but be puzzled. How is that possible? You're not an inner realm martial artist at all. He replied, nonchalantly, inner realm martial artists. Are they really that rare? Rufeng's face darkened. What do you mean? You think inner realm martial artists are like carrots in a warehouse, found everywhere? Zhong Weihua, who had recovered slightly, said, I reached the inner realm at the age of 40. Don't be so arrogant, kid. Chen Mo took out a small bottle and poured out a pill. Then he turned to Songzi and said, swallow it. Tang Tang and Qin Sheng, standing nearby, were shocked. A Peiyuan Dan? Could it be? Songzi's eyes widened as he looked at him. He obeyed. He then took the pill and swallowed it. Instantly, a massive surge of power enveloped him. Witnessing this, Wenxiong was utterly astonished. What's happening? Why is he taking medicine now? Zhong Weihua, however, thought with contempt, just putting on a mysterious act. Could it be? Rufeng pondered. Impossible. That's just too unbelievable. A moment later, Songzi's eyes suddenly lit up. He then knelt before Chun Mo Master's great kindness. This disciple has no way to repay you. He said coldly, go. Don't embarrass me. Songzi erupted with overwhelming power, leaving Rufeng completely bewildered. You insulted my master. You must die. His eyes went wide. Advanced stage, inner realm? How is that possible? Zhong Weihua cried out in alarm. It must be fake. It's just some secret technique to fake a cultivation level. Songzi seized the opportunity and charged at Rufeng, roaring, die. Acting on reflex, Rufeng quickly raised his hand to block Songzi's punch. But the punch was so powerful it broke his arm. He was immediately sent flying 8 meters away. Zhong Weihua was completely dumbfounded, thinking so it's real. He's really at the advanced stage inner realm. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Seeing that the situation was bad, a single thought flashed through Rufeng's mind. Run? Songzi closed in on him. Trying to run? Don't even think about it. The old man then threw another punch. He landed a direct hit right on his back. He coughed up blood, his eyes wide. Lin Rufeng. Songzi warned again. I said it before. You insulted my master. You must die. After witnessing such absolute power, Zhong Weihua bowed his head and knelt before Cheng'o, O Grandmaster. I was blind and failed to recognize your greatness. Please spare me. He couldn't help but think in terror to create an inner realm master in just a moment. This method is horrifying. Just how powerful is he? Chen Mo turned to Wenxiong and instructed, from now on, if the Lin family comes looking for trouble, tell them to come directly to me. Wenxiong replied, yes, sir. He turned to Songzi, who had returned to his normal state, and said, let's go. Wenxiong quickly spoke up, Grandmaster Chun, I'll have my driver take you back. On the other side, Tang Tang called to Qin Sheng, young miss, we should head back too. Chen Mo and Songzi walked out the gate. He said, I'm going to teach you a set of fist techniques. Master it as soon as possible. He replied, as you command. 2 days later, at the reception room of the main headquarters, Gu Zian came to welcome Chun Mo's group. Please come in, Grandmaster Chun. Then, Chun Mo's group strode confidently into the headquarters. A moment later, Gu Zian began to introduce the other guests present. Allow me to introduce. This is Shui Yin, an old mister from Nanling Prefecture. In Nanling Prefecture, when old Mr. Shui speaks, no one dares to disagree. Chun Mo smiled faintly and nodded in greeting. Gu Zian whispered to old Mr. Shui. Old Mr. Shui, Grandmaster Chun isn't fond of formalities. Please forgive him. He smiled and replied, it's a small matter. Then, more new faces appeared. Boss Fong, Boss Gu, a young man with slick-back hair arrived. Boss Qin, forgive me for not giving you a proper welcome. Standing there, Dong Han and Grandmaster Ping greeted them. Gentlemen, you've been waiting long. I, Su, apologize. Meanwhile, Chun Mo spoke calmly, his expression serious. Boss Su, did you come here intentionally to intimidate us? Before Dong Han could retort, he happened to see Chun Mo, who had been sitting on the sofa the whole time. He was shocked. Why is he here too? I haven't transferred him the money yet. But he quickly regained his composure. But with the help of this master, I don't need to be afraid of that brat, Chun Mo, anymore. Then Dong Han turned and ordered his subordinate, bring out the items for the esteemed gentleman to see. The guests looked at the items and couldn't help but be curious. What are these? We don't understand. Boss Su, please give us an introduction. Displayed before the guests were a pearl, a bodhisattva statue, and a bagua compass. He said softly, perhaps you gentlemen would like to appraise them first. Shui Yin smiled faintly and said, let's invite Mr. DeLong to appraise them. Chun Mo turned to Shui Yin in surprise and asked, could this be perfected Master DeLong of the Jiang Mountain Lingbao Taoist Temple? Shui Yin smiled and replied, precisely. Chun Mo, however, observed the situation coldly. This perfected Master DeLong has a faint, flickering aura of spiritual energy around him. That means the planet Earth really does have cultivators. It's just that for some reason, the orthodox Tao has been lost and only fragments remain. Then, this Mr. DeLong approached the table, displaying the artifacts. He used a technique and chanted, open. Immediately, the pearl emitted a beautiful green light. Mr. DeLong declared, this pearl must be a relic from a perfected master who attained the Tao. Imbued with spiritual energy, it has the effect of enhancing mental clarity and improving sleep. The others were amazed after hearing this. It's true. The cool aura emanating from this pearl is making me feel more alert, giving me a sense of mental clarity. I want this pearl. He then used a technique on the bodhisattva statue. He immediately felt the statue's power. This is a bodhisattva statue that has been consecrated by an eminent monk. Having the statue of the Kitagarbha bodhisattva in one's home can protect the house from evil spirits. The others were in an uproar. I want this too. It's a treasure that can protect one's home. I'm terrified of ghosts. I have to get this treasure. When it came to the last item, Mr. DeLong chanted. But the Bagua Jade tablet showed no reaction at all. Seeing this, he had to say, forgive my poor eyesight, but I don't see anything special about this Bagua Jade tablet. Dong Han, standing nearby, sighed to himself. Damn it, of the 3 treasures I brought, this Jade tablet is the most precious. Then Dong Han turned to Grandmaster Ping. Grandmaster Ping stroked his beard and laughed. Your cultivation is still shallow. Don't show off your meager tricks in front of others. Mr. DeLong was very surprised. I've never heard of this Grandmaster Ping. He immediately flexed his power for everyone to see. It's because you're ignorant. Watch closely. After he used a technique on the Bagua tablet, it immediately emitted an incredibly warm energy. The others felt extremely comfortable. This is so relaxing. It's like being in my mother's arms as a child. Mr. DeLong immediately bowed respectfully. So you're a master of the Taoist arts. I was clumsy. Please forgive me, senior. Grandmaster Ping said bluntly, go back and cultivate for another 30 years. He then turned to the crowd and continued. This is a miraculous artifact that can nourish the body and extend one's lifespan. Hearing the words extend one's lifespan, the guests were electrified. Extend lifespan? This jade tablet can really nourish the body. A treasure. This is a real treasure. In a corner, unseen by anyone, Dong Han and Grandmaster Ping exchanged a look that couldn't be more deceitful. Gu Zian asked Dong Han suspiciously, Boss Su, are you really willing to sell such a precious treasure? It's because I've obtained an even better treasure. That's why I'm willing to sell these 3. Or perhaps Boss Gu has some other opinion. Gu Zian then turned to Chun Mo with a friendly smile. Then let's ask Grandmaster Chun to help me appraise it. Dong Han immediately spoke up. Boss Gu, are you mistaken? He's just a high school kid. You're letting a brat appraise it? Boss Gu, stop joking around. Gu Zian waved his hand to explain. Everyone, please calm down and listen to Grandmaster Chen's opinion. He was sweating bullets, thinking, can he really do it? Chun Mo must have a discerning eye. Grandmaster Ping said to the crowd, then let's invite Grandmaster Chun to have a look. Dong Han, standing beside him, added sarcastically, Grandmaster Chun, don't get it wrong now. Chun Mo stood up, holding the Manhwa Jade tablet. He asked seriously, do you really want me to say it? Faced with Chun Mo's question, Don Han suddenly faltered. This. Beside him, Grandmaster Ping spoke up. Chun Mo waved his hand, performed a technique, and declared, these 3 items are all fakes. His words caused an uproar in the crowd. What? Nonsense. He must be talking nonsense. We've all experienced the effects of these treasures. Then Chun Mo explained further. This ordinary pearl has been infused with a bit of yin energy by someone. It creates the illusion of mental refreshment. However, with prolonged contact, one's body will be invaded by the yin energy. The same goes for that Bodhisattva statue. Not only can it not ward off evil, but it will also attract spirits and nurture ghosts. Inside this Manhwa Jade tablet is a simple formation. It can catalyze the water attribute origin energy contained within the jade. Water attribute origin energy can indeed nourish the body, but the user needs to use their own spiritual energy to activate the formation. An ordinary person simply cannot use it. With the entire fraudulent scheme skillfully exposed by him, Don Han and Grandmaster Ping couldn't avoid the backlash. So they're frauds. Damn it. How dare they bring fakes to trick people? Su Don Han, you are absolutely shameless. Chun Mo turned to Grandmaster Ping. You must be a fellow disciple of that Grandmaster Wang, right? Feeling exposed, he gritted his teeth and said, you brat. First, you killed my junior brother, and now you've ruined my plans. I'll skin you alive, pull out your tendons, and grind you to dust. He leaned back, opening his mouth wide to unleash a technique. He exhaled a bizarre black smoke, aiming to attack him. The black smoke contained ferocious, skull-faced demons. Seeing this, the surrounding guests ran for their lives. Ghosts! They're ghosts! Help! He cackled and declared, today, I'll let you taste what it's like to be devoured by the souls I've raised. 6 ghosts soul rend. Chun Mo said without a hint of fear, no matter if you have tens of thousands of Yin souls, my lightning is enough to destroy them all. He shouted, summoning lightning, lightning come. His technique stunned Grandmaster Ping. Lightning Dao Arts. You're a successor of the Heavenly Master Sect? Chun Mo didn't waste words. A bolt of lightning immediately struck down, obliterating the ghosts. The lightning bolt zipped towards him. Grandmaster Ping immediately exhaled sharply. He then summoned a smoke effigy in his own image to block the attack. This smoke effigy charged towards Chun Mo. However, it was easily destroyed by the lightning.